Here we go, here we go, here we go. Another episode of Change Your Pace Sports with alternative views. I'm your host, K, with your co-host, Mouze.
What's going on? What's going on? First day of summer.
Yeah, first day of summer, we're back at it. You know what I mean? Another urban alternative view episode where we, change your pace of sports, one alternative view at a time. We got a lot going on. The NBA Finals is over. It didn't live up to the hype that we wanted, but we had some pretty interesting moments in between it. We talk a little bit about that. The NBA got free agency coming up. That's definitely going to be big. We got the NBA draft, the NFL. We got training camp and preseason coming soon. And right now we got the World Cup. World Cup, goal. That's going on right now.
You gotta do it this man. Goal!
Most of you guys thought about that game. We got some big stars. We'll talk a little bit about the World Cup. Get everybody filled in, and we'll definitely drop the alternative views.
Mm-hmm.
So let's quickly jump into the NBA talk. We got the NBA Finals. That wasn't very competitive.
Pretty much we thought it was going to be a 5-6 Warriors win in that sense. But I think after that first game one notch, that knocked off the game 5.
Yeah.
And that knocked off all the energy of what. And they pretty much showed what that the LeBron James and the Cavaliers team was not enough for that super powerful Warriors team. And then even when I just like the way how Steve Kerr played into it, like putting in JaVale McGee, just to be that defensive anchor to just stop LeBron from getting inside so easily, preventing that easy inside scoring where it just changed the whole format for them. And I just think LeBron in the Cavaliers didn't have enough. They didn't have enough coming in when we started seeing it.
Correct.
And it was just not going to be enough for them.
I felt like talent-wise, they didn't have enough to really match up well with the Warriors over the course of 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought like LeBron's greatness would at least get them 1 or 2 games.
2 at least.
The fact that they got swept, I think that's a very negative mark on LeBron's career and his resume.
I think that's the first time he got swept for since the first year.
When the Spurs, swept him when he first was in Cleveland.
First time, right?
But I felt like Steve Kerr again outcoached Tyronn Lue again. I think that was clear and it was evident with like some of the things that happened, like even the J.R. Smith play, where J.R. Smith caught the rebound and then he ran it out. That was a coaching mistake. Like the play the clip right after that, we see where LeBron is asking the coaching staff, "Do we have a timeout?" LeBron wasn't so mad at J.R. Smith. He was that mad at the coaching staff. Like, we had a timeout and none of y'all told us on the floor to call a timeout when that went down. How dare y'all not? Like, how did y'all make that kind of blunder? And that's a severe coaching blunder right there. The timeout should have been called once J.R. Smith put his head down. As soon as he put his head down, the head coach has to scream timeout right there. And the fact that Tyronn didn't make that call, that cost J.R. Smith an extremely embarrassing moment. That took the complete energy and momentum out of the Cavaliers. And that virtually cost them the entire series. Because after that, they were unable to recover. Mm-hmm. And then Iguodala was able to come back, so the Warriors got back to their full team. And
they got back to their type of offense.
So with Iguodala back in the fold and they having a full complement of players there, the last 2 games weren't really competitive. Even though they were in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. They truly wasn't competitive.
It was competitive until the late fourth quarter where they just couldn't handle it. Even in games where Steph Curry and Clay weren't shooting well,
correct,
they just couldn't stop Durant at this point because now there's no one that's left. And then I also didn't felt that the coach, like as far as Tyronn Lue, he could have did a better job on switching as far as I know a lot of people spoke of like Hood.
Yes.
Not coming in until why he didn't play him ever since, but that's not even this series. It's just why was he not being utilized prior to, even before the whole situation of him not wanting to come in the game.
Correct.
Before that, like, if you have a roster and you know your roster and the team that you have to face is the Golden State Warriors, if you brought him in as far as because you felt that your previous team was not good enough, why is this guy not getting valuable minutes? Because you believe he is what you need to go over the hump. He's the person you traded for. Why was he not, even if it didn't seem like he should have been used more? It's not, and then using him in the third and fourth game
correct.
now because when you seem like, he could do something. Yeah, of course he could do something. You brought him in.
Correct. I think it wasn't fair for Rodney Hood, and I think Rodney Hood got definitely dealt a bad hand. I think it was a very it was a hard position for Tyronn Lue to be in. And I feel like when you get to the playoffs, you start to make matchup differences past your starting lineup, and I think for Tyronn Lue that meant like certain players might not play in certain series because of the matchups or whatever you're trying to establish in that series. And that might have been the case for Rodney Hood, but the fact that he had just had such a good end to the regular season and he had played so well, he was in the rotation. For them now, as the playoffs started, to now start to get inconsistent minutes, I think for a player young and just being brought in and being in the rotation, it didn't make a lot of sense for Rodney Hood, and that culminated with the moment in which he was like, I'd rather not go into a garbage moment in a playoff game when you haven't played me for the rest of the game. And I think that was taken the wrong way because that could be definitely taken disrespectfully by the head coaching staff and the coach in general. Like, you're not even an established player, and I tell you to come in the game, and now you're not going in the game. Now there's no reason for me to have confidence to trust in putting you in any time. Yes. And I think that probably lasted a little bit into the Boston series. And the Raptors by the time it got to the Warriors series, there was no connection. There was no trust. And I think that was another reason why the Cavaliers looked as bad as they did and they got swept. There was no chemistry there. Mm-hmm. And that showed itself out. Like, even in the J.R. Smith situation, a team that's more collected would show. They would have rallied around J.R. and they would have tried to win in overtime because of what happened with J.R. That would have been a team that you would have seen had trust in each other, that was together. The Warriors, the Cavaliers showed that these players did not have that level of trust because they hadn't been together that long. So when the moment happened, you seen they basically sat in separate positions apart from each other. Mm-hmm. And then they went back on the court and tried to put it together. But by that time, the Warriors had now had the home crowd to re-energize them, and they had no chance in overtime beating them in their building. Mm-hmm. But I felt like that was a clear sign that this Warriors or this Cavaliers team does not have the right chemistry, does not have the right coach, and they're going to suffer in this series to a more talented, better coach, more together unit.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what it was. It's like, I feel that if you're going to bring like I said, like that kid, he should have been playing from the first series. You should have got at least not saying he has to have a whole bunch of minutes, but you give him some minutes where he gets his feet wet, and he has experience in playoff with Utah last year,
and his confidence is there.
So it's like, why not get that? You traded for this guy. Why is he not playing? So, but that's not merely the only problem. It was mainly just as far as one got out coached. Like, I saw that Steve Kerr made adjustments between game 1 and game 2, and between between game 1 and game 2, and then between game 3 and game 4, and then between halves, where it just seemed like the Cavs. I think you mentioned it in the Boston series that LeBron is holding the ball too much, and J.R. Smith and all the players are just catching shooters, and that was continued on that started from the Pacers series where they almost lost that one, the Raptors series, and as well as the Boston series, and then on to the Warriors series. They got away with it majority because of these were more like teams that didn't know how to.
And I felt like the Raptors series, I thought like that again made the Cavaliers look like they were better than they are, and I think that goes back to the thing when I said Toronto won the most games in the Eastern Conference this year because they had a full 12.
Yes,
they played very well together as a full 12, better than any other team in the Eastern Conference. But now in the playoffs, their 7 is not good enough to compete with a lot of those top teams, whether it's Boston, whether it's Cleveland, even Washington. If John Wall was more healthy, they would have had a more tough time getting past
John Wall didn't really get his feet to get to like game 3.
Got hurt for the last 2 games. Yes. That's probably why they were able to sneak past Washington.
It was game 3, John Wall got his feet wet, and then Porter got hurt that same game.
Yes.
And then that's when they just... And we spoke about that.
So I mean, like, in that series, it was a horrible matchup against LeBron James. LeBron James is the best player in the NBA, and they had nobody to guard him. Mm-hmm. Versus you're not playing 12 against the Cleveland 12. You're playing 7 versus 7, and Cleveland 7.
And then you can also see
playoff ready.
You can also see the difference in coaching, where it's like
Warriors out.
I'm saying, but even the Warriors didn't really have, until Iguodala came back, have really someone to guard LeBron. Yeah. But they played team defense where they contained LeBron.
And LeBron had 50 in game 1.
Exactly.
That's without Iguodala.
This is why Iguodala.
Yeah.
And this is no containment, but they just made sure LeBron, you're gonna score 50.
Yeah.
Just score. That's it.
But they should. I mean, Cleveland should have won that first game.
They should have.
And it wasn't because JR didn't because George Hill should have hit the free throw.
George Hill should hit the free throw. There's a lot of things I could have called.
Lou has to make that timeout.
He
has to call that timeout.
That offensive foul that was called the player prior before that was not an offensive. Like there's a few things that
factored in besides JR.
Like let's not look at the main. Everybody look at the last point of the picture, but then but that's. They say it there, but
shout out to Golden State. They won another championship, 3 out of the last 4.
Durant gets another MVP.
I thought Steph needed to get this MVP.
I thought he was,
and I didn't think it was. But I mean, I get it. Durant did have the significant or the highlight game in Game 3, so I get why he got the MVP. But I thought Steph's team is another championship. He's never gotten the MVP, and he's the face of this franchise and this dynasty. They gave the first one to Iguodala. They gave last year to Kevin Durant. I thought it's Steph's time. This is his team. This is his run, really. So I mean, all right, I get it. You know what I'm saying. So,
as far as shooting percentage wise, I think Durant had the better shooting, so that's what they gave it to him.
I thought he had better numbers, sure.
But as far as numbers were, I think we spoke about a lot. I still didn't think Durant played strong enough. I think no one really pressed him. I think the fact that you had J.R. Smith on you and he was doing a lot to really prevent. There was times Kevin Durant didn't even touch the ball.
He did a good job.
So he did a really good job being very undersized. And
Jad, that's solid series. I think we just look at it again.
Yeah, but look at the one play and then realize that how well he did defensively.
But
he was locking down DeRozan.
But I feel like JR's made a huge sacrifice since coming to Cleveland. And nobody really sees the sacrifice a player makes. J.R. Smith went from being more of a Kobe Bryant, Lou Williams. He was a significant scorer that needed the ball in his hands to create and score and dunk on people.
Mm-hmm.
And he completely changed his game to be a catch and shooter for Cleveland. He didn't do that in New York with Melo. I don't think people are completely missing that fact. He wasn't a catch and shooter with Melo. He handled the ball and he went and got his. He completely has sacrificed that side of his game.
Melo's not going to really pass. Melo's going to hold the ball from
right. But Melo's not even passing the ball to you. So when you get the ball, you got to figure out how to get your shot.
Because if you throw back to Melo, he's holding that ball for 10 seconds, then he's going to do a favor.
So JR's made this significant sacrifice. He's become an NBA champion, which nobody thought that J.R. Smith would be NBA champion. It's I don't think he's been given at all the credit for the sacrifice and that he's made.
And during that trade when they got him, everyone really liked the fact that they had Shumpert.
Yeah, Shumpert was
it was like Shumpert and and you got JR.
Correct.
And then now you look years later, Shumpert's no longer there, but JR is still the guy. They reset the whole team. Mm-hmm. JR's still there. Mm-hmm. So it's
I will say even some respect.
Coming off the bench starting this year.
I'll even give you a JR some respect is that after that game 1, he came out, he was I'm glad it happened to me than any one of my teammates. I'm probably one of the only one that would be able to take what happened. And I'm glad that now we can go forward to game 2 and the focus is not on any one of my teammates but me. After saying that, you can't help but respect the dude that's willing to be responsible for what he did.
You can take it.
He answered the questions.
Even though it's just one play does not make
LeBron walked away from that same question.
Mm-hmm.
JR took the questions.
Yeah, he did.
But speaking of LeBron James,
this is his final season.
I wonder, was this his last season in Cleveland? Is he done in Cleveland?
Is he going to Lakers? Is he going to Knicks? Is he going to Boston? Or
correct.
Whatever they all mention that he might go to.
Correct. I feel like there's really just 2 options there. It's either he stays in Cleveland or he goes to the Lakers. I think there's no other options there. The reason I think LA is a real possibility now, 3 reasons. Reason 1, he does have a house in Los Angeles. Reason 2, his son just committed to going to play high school basketball at a school in the Los Angeles area.
Mm-hmm.
Then reason number 3, Kawhi Leonard saying that he wants to go to the Lakers also. That right there to me was a huge domino. Because it looks like Paul George is staying with OKC. If Kawhi Leonard now forces his trade to the Lakers, which I think is possible, because now you can just trade Ingram to the Spurs and a draft pick, and possibly even you can even take a step further, maybe even Julius Randle and Ingram for Kawhi Leonard, and then now just sign LeBron James, and now you have Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and
Lonzo
Ball, and it's like that team quickly becomes already a playoff team
because
1 year away from being a championship contender.
I don't agree with that because that would help for the sense of LeBron don't have to play defense, which he doesn't really like. It seems like it is because now you have Kawhi that would guard Durant and Lonzo that would stop up Steph.
Yeah, like the Bulls. Yeah, I mean, again, it will become scary. It'll be the Lakers again, getting rich again. This is typical of the Lakers. The Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol. Like the Lakers eventually get what they got Magic Johnson right now. Speaking of Laker legends, they got Magic Johnson right now in the fall. I think there's a great chance of LeBron going to the Lakers after he leaves. But other than that, I do think there's a chance he stays in Cleveland after this draft, especially if they get the guy that I have. It's Colin Sexton. Like we'll talk about the draft in a second, but Colin Sexton. Ooh. I don't think we realize how nasty this kid is going to be when he gets to the league. We'll get into that. But anyway, so I think LeBron's legacy took a shot though in this finals.
The last week. It depends on how you look at it. I still think he's still one of the great players. He's still one of the great players ever to step into the court. Some people may say his legacy is tarnished by some of that. I still don't see it. I still see basketball as a team sport.
Yeah.
I still see him doing his part. I know there's ways that you can do more as far as getting your team over that hump as that player, but there's only so much you can do. Yeah. I think winning a playoff, winning a championship, it's from your star to your six man to your bench.
Correct.
I mean to your six man to your coach.
Correct.
And if your coach and your star and your six man is not all on their P's and Q's, I think that's what tarnishes it. And whereas the Warriors have their coach, Steph. Steve Kerr. Mm-hmm. Your star, Steph. Mm-hmm. And then your six man, Sean Livingston.
Yeah.
Whereas he comes in and when your stars
Eagle
Iguodala, but I was reason I'll say Iguodala normally, but he didn't play until game 3. He was rarely a factor. He was mainly just for defense. But when Livingston came in, I don't think he missed a shot till game 4. So it was like, it's not like he had to take a lot, but it's just that when he's in there to make those certain situations where it's like, all right, bet you're comfortable letting Steph and Clay sit down because
very efficient.
He's very efficient. He's going to make the pass he needs to make. He's not going to make he's going to do that. He's going to be what he needs to be. So
trust on both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you mainly need. But where you have the Cavs, you have LeBron. I'm not sure with Lou because I really can't say Lou because it's really hard to judge a coach for a Cavaliers when you haven't been a coach and your first team you coach is LeBron James. I think LeBron James makes any coach look great. So. And then
look at the talent that's on that roster.
And then you look at the rest of the roster. So then it's like
Kevin Love is no joke. Tristan Thompson is no joke. And it's Kyrie Irving the year before on that roster. So the talent that team has had is championship level talent.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the GM not being there and the fact that the GM was let go and his contract wasn't extended in the beginning of last year, which led to Kyrie Irving wanting out and when all that happened. I think it's a big part of why the Cavaliers are in a very bad position right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's going to get better because they haven't brought in a GM yet. Or the GM that they have, is another first-time GM.
Yeah,
it's not like they went and got Sam Presti or Greg Popovich or Pat Riley. They got a known entity, even Isaiah Thomas, like somebody that has already been a GM we've already seen, knows what they're doing in the league. This is a first-time GM now. And he's supposed to now build around LeBron James when he's like maybe 5 years older than LeBron James. Like it doesn't work that way. And now the trade that he made during the deadline, I thought was again a young, short-sighted view. I said it at the time, like in the long run, yeah, that trade looks fine because you got younger, you got assets that you could build on in the long run, but they're not trying to play in the long run. LeBron James is not playing for 4 years. He was playing for this season. He was playing for a championship this year. So the players that you traded out were immediately helping him in the playoffs. Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, Isaiah Thomas, Amon Shumpert, Channing Frye. Those 5 players would have all been better in the playoffs than you saw all season.
And then also with the sorry, coach, but also with that because this is absolutely correct. Like that you can't those players that if you brought in,
you gotta have a season to find chemistry with these young players that have never played in these big games before.
If you started your season bringing in these players, and then you go halfway in and be like, oh, okay, I'm not done. You may look at
was only back for about a month.
If you look at your record and you're saying, oh, my record don't look great. First off, you don't have to worry about it as far as the Cavaliers in the East. You could have came in seventh, the 7th.
6th, 7th, 8th.
It doesn't matter. You would have made it out the East. You would have made it out the East. The only matter is to get it to the playoffs. And these guys would have shined.
The Warriors. And they had the team when they left training camp to beat the Warriors.
That's what we actually thought that coming in.
Yeah.
We actually spoke about that.
Everybody kind of said that, like, oh, look at they're super talented. Like,
this is straight for the Warriors.
They got Dwayne Wade.
But they played for the regular season rather than they Raptors it.
And I'll throw back another notion that probably was the thing. Tyronn Lue did not have the experience as a head coach to bring all those veteran egos under one umbrella, under one page, under one direction. You needed somebody like a Pat Riley, Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, Larry Brown, an iconic coach, or even Mike D'Antoni, that can bring a bunch of stars under one umbrella.
I think he was allowing
Tyronn Lue is struggling still with LeBron.
I think he was allowing LeBron to structure that team when it was like, okay, you have a whole bunch of veteran stars here. Like, these are guys that have been in the league for years that understand. Like, you have Isaiah Thomas, who's been in playoffs. He's played against LeBron. You have Dwayne Wade and etc. So it's like,
so even in Miami, like, Sposed had problems sometimes with Wade, LeBron, Bosh.
I'm pretty sure he had help from
Pat Riley said come downstairs and be like, no, Sposed the coach. This is who you gotta listen.
Exactly.
And like, that's because Pat Riley was there to almost give him the backing. But Pat Riley is the iconic coach that would Sposed was veering around the wrong way, would come down and like, yo, this is what I see. This is what needs to be done. This is how we're going to structure this. Whereas, like, with Tyronn Lue, his GM never played in the league.
His GM is just as young as him.
You know what I mean? Like,
y'all all rookies training grown men.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's why, again, Dwayne Wade was saying that I'm going to be the head coach of the bench. You had LeBron James saying, like, I don't think that Isaiah Thomas should start. Like, you had Isaiah saying, like, why shouldn't I start? Then Derrick Rose is like, yo, I can come off the bench if Isaiah wants to start.
And then
it's like, yo, Isaiah's becoming a problem in the locker room now because Isaiah wants to start on a contract year.
And then LeBron stating that, J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson will not start. He's telling that they're not starting. Love might not start. And I'm like, how is LeBron James determining who's your starting five?
Why is LeBron even answering these questions? Like to me, that tells me that there's not a hierarchy. The leader is LeBron. Like, he's the top of the pyramid.
There's no hierarchy above him.
It's him. Like,
there's no hierarchy before above him.
The head coach is beneath him, like, in a sense. So, like, I mean, for LeBron, to me, that's part of why his career didn't get to Jordan level. Like, the way Michael Jordan is lucky that he got the chance to play under Phil Jackson, and so was Kobe, so was Shaq. The flaw, I think, in LeBron's career is he never got developed by a coach that could bring that killer instinct out of him. Now, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think he's never had a coach to allow him to be a player.
Yes.
He's been the player, organizer.
He's been the leader of every...
And he's never just been the player and just to be like, just play the game.
Yeah.
And he's always been like that.
He's never been one of the players. It's always been, it's LeBron. Right now he's in TV, future LeBron James. Like, it's always been about LeBron James. I think he had that coach and he didn't like it. And I think that's David Blatt.
Mm-hmm.
I think David Blatt is the only time LeBron has had a coach that had way more cliche, way more than he did. Mm-hmm. Like, David Blatt was already like an 11-time Euro Ball champion when he came to the NBA. He was already more established than D'Antoni internationally. And that one year, he took the Warriors to 6 games without Kyrie and Kevin Love. And they had the best record in the NBA the next year before he got, canned. I think it's like LeBron didn't like the fact that you had a coach basically
told him what to do.
Basically, yes. Like, he didn't have control over himself no more. And he's not used to that. And I think he was like, I'm more comfortable with the defensive coordinator, Tyronn Lue. And I think that's where he was like, yo, I want Tyronn to be the coach. And he let go Blatt. And
that's what happens.
This is the history, but it's going to be what haunts LeBron. LeBron's going to end up like Jerry West, where it's like, Jerry West is the logo for a reason. He's one of the best players to ever lace him up. But the fact that I think he's 1-9 or 1-8 in finals, 8 losses in the finals and only 1 championship, that's why we don't consider Jerry West Jordan level. Because talent-wise, He's clearly Jordan. That's why he's the logo.
But you're not the best.
But the fact that he lost 8 times in the finals, that's what knocked him down. Same with Will Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his numbers are gaudy, but he lost so many times to Bill Russell. We don't consider him like Jordan. The only reason Jordan's above all these other guys, he's 6-0 in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
He's never lost a championship final. Like,
if he's there, he's winning.
Like, that puts him above them all.
That's true. That's true.
And with LeBron now, it's like, what is he, 3-6? Like, this is hard.
3-6 or 3-7?
I don't want to even go there. Like, this is for his legacy. He's in Kobe's realm now. He's in Kobe's realm. Like, he's not up there with Olajuwon. He's not up there with
I still think he's better than
Kareem.
Both Kobe though.
I think he's better than him as a player. Yeah. But as far as tears his greatness, you're in Kobe's boat now.
I get you saying.
Like, you just went back to Kobe's boat because Kobe went out and got some on his own.
Kobe won without Shaq.
Fact.
Sure, that's true.
Showed the killer instinct, and they beat a team that most would say was better than him.
Mm-hmm.
That Boston Big Three was probably better than the Lakers that year.
Yeah, because it was only Boston Big. It was the Lakers Big Two.
I mean, Bynum was like, he was kind of beat up.
But it was Gasol.
Yeah, Lamar Odom was kind of beat up, but Gasol was the guy, so it was like, Kobe and Gasol.
So that's like pretty much LeBron and Love.
Facts. And I think they don't get the most out of Love, and I think that's because it's just defensive guys on that coaching staff.
I think Love has never been the same player he was in Minnesota. And
They never maxed him out.
They never used him.
I don't think any player there besides LeBron has been maxed out.
Yeah.
Like, look at George Hill's group. Like, look at Tristan Thompson. Like, Tristan Thompson could lead the league in rebounds every year.
But he came off the bench.
So, I mean, shout out to LeBron James. Oh, lastly, on the LeBron talk, has Kevin Durant surpassed LeBron James as the best player in the NBA?
No. No. Because this is the reason why I say this. And I'm just going to use it off of what a lot of people like to mention. LeBron James had to go to Miami to win a ring. Mm-hmm. So they never gave him that credit. Uh-huh. So if we're going to use that same statement, so Kevin Durant went to the Warriors to win a championship.
Right.
So that means that Kevin Durant would have to leave the Warriors to win a championship. Correct. And then you could be somewhere in that level.
Correct. And I just throw in a quick tidbit. Like, the one thing that I would pray for as an NBA fan to actually happen, if Kevin Durant didn't re-sign with the Warriors and signed up with OKC, and Paul George re-signed there, and it's Paul George, Carmelo, Durant, Westbrook, just for even 1 year. Like, I'm with it. Like, I'm with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sign me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think OKC as a town, as a city, it would be like, Durant comes back. We'll welcome him back. Of course, we'll take him back. We'll let the LeBron thing go. We'll unburn the jersey.
The Cavs prove that anybody's welcome back.
But I mean, he's from Cleveland. Like they couldn't. Like he probably still has an apartment building.
That's disrespectful, and that's another reason why I say that there's a good chance. There's only slow chance why I say like he could probably go to LA. Because I still didn't think he messed with that owner after that letter.
Oh no, LeBron James. Yeah, no. That's why I think he's 1 foot out the door. And that's why I'm thinking it's LA. Like, he has a house there.
Yeah, it could
be. What I mean? And the fact, like, the things that I saw in the finals, where it's like, the daps he was giving the owner was like, that's daps that you give to, like, your man's friend.
You mentioned that party last week. Oh, okay, what up?
That's not something you do to somebody that you cool with, like. So I'm not sure, like, and again, I don't think that relationship would ever be good again after that letter. The things that was said in that letter, I don't know. But Kevin Durant, I don't even think Kevin Durant's really that close to being the best player in the NBA. Like, I still think it's Westbrook, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard. These are players that I still have above Kevin. A lot of it has to do with there's no way I can put Kevin that high up the same way with Steph, because look at the talent that's around you. Mm-hmm. It's like calling Chris Bosh in his Miami days a top 10 player. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way you could do it anymore. Like, he's just not getting enough touches. He's not getting enough use. He's not getting enough opportunity to be considered that high up in the league anymore. Mm-hmm. There's no knock. There's no knock at all to Kevin, but I think you've sacrificed that by making that move. Mm-hmm. Like, I think if he was with OKC right now, there's a better chance of we calling him the best player in the NBA, because he would have a lot more on his plate. He would probably be doing a lot more to generate a lot more respect. Yeah. Whereas, like, you're playing with the two best shooters in the league. Like, you know how much easier that makes it for an offensive player?
I'm just saying, it makes it like where there's 2-3 players guarding Steph, it's barely one on you.
And you're probably playing with the best point forward in the league. I don't think people realize Their offense runs through Draymond Green. Like, literally, it runs through Draymond Green. They run the triangle offense, and at the pinch post position, that's Draymond Green
Like
time.
When you play the Warriors, it's like, oh, you got to stop Steph, and you got to watch for Kevin Durant. It's not, oh, we got to stop Durant. There's a reason why he got a lot of open shots. Yeah, that's besides LeBron James leaving in free agency, there's a couple other players that might be moving to other towns or.
Correct. We just quickly run through the list of. I got the top 12 free agents here. Mm-hmm. Start with number 12. You got Avery Bradley. Used to play with Boston, Detroit defensive guy.
Now with a new head coach, I don't know. Where was he?
He was with Detroit.
Last.
With Stan Van Gundy. He's a free agent now.
But now with doing new head coach Dwayne Casey, does he bring him back? Does he allow him to go somewhere else?
Well, I think he's unrestricted free agent, so I think he could just choose where he would have gone out. Yeah. And then with Stan Van Gundy, who brought him in here, I don't think he really has a relationship with Dwayne Casey. I think he'll look to go to a situation that more suits him, which I don't think necessarily is Detroit. Mm-hmm. There's a possibility he might look at Boston again. Like that, he loves Brad Stevens. He had a good, tenure there. That might be a thing. I would definitely look out for San Antonio with Avery Bradley. That's the type of player that they would definitely
with Rudy Gay having his opting out of his play option. That's another thing.
And signing with Puma today. Shout out to Puma, making Jay-Z president of operations, and signing Deion Ayton, who I think is going to be the first pick in the draft. Marvin Bagley, she dropped some rap. He dropped some bars to celebrate John and Puma about to get drafted. Shout out to Marvin Bagley. We'll talk a little more about that. Number 11 we got is a restricted free agent, Julius Randle. A lot of people out here in New York saying that he'll be a perfect fit with Porzingis. I continue to think that's one of the most ignorant takes I've continuously heard all year. Like, Porzingis is best suited to play the 4, just like his predecessor, Dirk Nowitzki. A lot of people kept saying that Dirk would probably eventually be a center in the league throughout his career. It just never made sense. And
he has the height, not the
correct.
size.
The same with Kevin Garnett, who was the other one of Porzingis' idols. Garnett was never a true center. Like, he played a center as an anchor, a defensive anchor, but he never had the physical girth to really be a center. He was a power forward. Despite many people thinking that he played center in the league, he did not. So Porzingis, his position is not going to be center, even though it is modern era. Like, he might play 5 during large stretches just because he'll be the tallest guy on the team. But the idea that he's a 5 in this league, that's not who he is. That's not who he's projected to be. That's not who he's going to be. So to put Julius Randle next to him, well, that's Julius Randle's position. The 4. What, he's going to play center now? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So Julius Randle, his best position is actually with the Lakers. I think they will resign him unless somebody throws a large amount of money at him, which the Nets might do. They keep seeming to do that at some of these players. And the fact that D'Angelo Russell had a good relationship with Julius Randle, I can see the Nets making a play at trying to sign him.
Yeah, the Lakers don't want him. They pretty much cut his minutes throughout all last year.
Well, actually, they finally
they gave him towards the end. At the back end, they started.
Luke Walton finally said he's committed. He's translated to what I'm looking for. They have high hopes for him this year. But it comes back to how much is it going to cost them.
Yeah, and who they want to actually bring in. I don't think
it's another idea that I have, like, to the whole LeBron going to the Lakers. If LeBron goes to the Lakers, it will be a sign and trade, and there's a chance that Kevin Love, who's from LA, will go with him. And in that move, it will make sense for the Cavaliers to get back Julius Randle to replace Kevin Love, and then whoever they draft, whether it's Michael Porter Jr. or Mikal Bridges in the draft, to replace the LeBron James position, or even resign Rodney Hood to replace that position. Going into number 10, got Brook Lopez. This last year played with the Lakers. But Brook Lopez will be an unrestricted free agent. I think it'll be very interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, he's been moved around a lot lately.
Yes, he's been traded, but he's still a very talented center that can score the ball. Very versatile. I think places that you can look for him at is like Washington, who's been dying to have a big man that can score to take away, to give them an inside-outside presence with Wall and Beal. Guard Todd has not quite been that. And if you could bring in somebody like Brook Lopez, another team I look at would be the Milwaukee Bucks, who have badly needed a center that's actually a significant player. Like, they've had a bunch of undersized centers like John Henson playing the center out there, Thon Maker playing the center. It's like, they're not real centers. You almost have Giannis Antetokounmpo as your rim protector, and he's a 3. Brook Lopez would be an excellent pickup over there. With, Mike Budenholzer being the coach now, he could make him play a little bit of defense.
Yeah.
That'd be a great pickup. Number 9, I got Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
I think he probably will stay with Boston, but there's a chance that somebody will definitely throw some money at him to try to snatch him away. He's definitely one of the better defensive guards in the league.
Unfortunately, can't stay healthy.
Yes, but he plays a very physical game, and that's probably why it leads to a lot of it banged up.
Mm-hmm.
Moving quickly into number 8, Isaiah Thomas. He will be an unrestricted free agent. Mm-hmm. He had a very tough season last year after having an MVP caliber year the year before.
He's had a tough NBA career.
Facts. For a little guy, he's went through a lot. I think there's a significant chance he goes back to Boston. Mm-hmm. I almost think it's almost penciled in for me that he goes back to Boston.
Or Chicago.
I think he could slide right into a 6-man role with that Boston situation, and I think Boston is ready to win a championship next year.
Yeah,
whichever way
they've got close enough to where they feel that they can taste it.
But yeah, I think they have the right blend too. Like Jaylen Brown will be going into year 3, Jason Tatum will be going into year 2, and then you would have whoever you want, whether it's Jordan Hayward and Al Horford or Kyrie Irving and Al Horford. They're veterans that are in the position where they're championship ready also.
Yeah.
So I think Marcus Smart or Isaiah Thomas both going to Boston. Something to look at. Number 7, we got Tyreek Evans, who had a resurgent career, a resurgent year this year with Memphis. David Fizdale did a good job kind of like rekindling, revitalizing Tyreek Evans' career. Him and Keith Small did a good job with that. And so now Evans is in line for a nice deal. Probably will re-sign with Memphis, though.
Yeah, most likely.
Number 6, we got Aaron Gordon of Orlando Magic. He'll be a restricted free agent.
Nick's one of them. A lot of trade talk about before, but very talented player. Had a little bit of injuries, but very high explosive.
Correct.
Decent shooter.
Super athletic. Dunk contest winner. Amazing wingspan. Just coming into his own this year. Mm-hmm. But like typical of this era, it takes about year 3 or 4 for these players to finally show their true skill because of that. They're now coming in at such a young age at 19, 20, 18 years old. Mm-hmm. So now instead of it being basically 1 year and then you see what they are, it takes about 3 years to see what they are because they're not coming out as juniors at 22 anymore. So I think that's the difference right now. I think for him, Aaron Gordon should have a big year, almost like Victor Oladipo. Year 4, year 5 start to show what they're really about.
Should see Orlando recently.
With the Knicks though, because he was drafted by Scott Perry, who's the GM of the Knicks now. There might be a look at that, maybe a sign and trade. We'll see how that works out. Depending on who the Knicks draft, they might not need a small forward. So number 5, I got Clint Capella, who had a phenomenal year this year. Mm-hmm. He's definitely in line for a big deal.
Yes.
He's definitely in line for a big deal. Restricted free agent, I think Houston will do what they have to do to resign or whatever the number is.
They have to.
So that's a big deal. Number 4, this is a big domino. It's DeMarcus Cousins. He's an unrestricted free agent coming off an Achilles injury. Mm-hmm. That's a very tricky injury. He's a big man.
And then after having a questionable season with the Kings and trading off to...
But he was having an MVP caliber year
the Pelicans
before he got hurt.
Before getting hurt. And then they showed that they really didn't necessarily need him.
Because of Anthony Davis being who he is.
And the other guy...
Drew Holiday.
No, that big man they had up there that was playing pretty well.
Nikola Mitrovic.
Yes.
They traded for him.
They traded for him.
He did a very good job pairing up with Anthony Davis up front. But I think Dallas, Mark Cuban, is going to throw a lot of money at Cousins. I think that might be more than what the Pelicans can afford. There's a great chance. So if they are hot on DeMarcus Cousins, I think there's a good chance that...
just got to question that legs. Because, big man with legs.
I just question, will they be patient? Because we saw Chandler Parsons get signed by Dallas a couple years ago, and then his injury got worse in his time there. So we definitely want to see, will they be patient with DeMarcus if they do bring him in? But we'll also see will the Pelicans go from what other teams might want to throw money at him. He's still one of the best talented big men in the league. It's just whether or not he'll come back healthy from this Achilles injury.
Is he going to be able to finish?
So the top 3 free agents for this upcoming season, we have Chris Paul. With Houston, he's an unrestricted free agent, so he can sign wherever he likes. Mm-hmm. But there's a good chance because Houston could offer him the most money, the max money, and the situation that they have there.
Mm-hmm. And he was at his closest with them.
He might re-up there with the James Harden train. Then we have number 2, we have the Paul George. A lot of talk of him want to go back to L.A. He's from L.A. It was a Laker fan growing up. But there's huge talk over the last couple of days that extension with the Thunder is very warm. It's a great chance if it happens. A great chance of him signing a max deal to stay with them. With Melo and Westbrook over there.
And is that thing situation up now? Because I remember when the Magic Johnson got fined for that whole tampering with him. So like, is he now eligible to talk to the Lakers, or is that like something that's still like in a balance where they can't talk for like another year or so? I don't remember. I don't remember what was
the 1 year ban.
I don't know if it's to now or is it to.
That's a good point. I'm not sure how that works. So it's like that is also interesting.
Yeah.
And then the number one free agent will be LeBron James, the king, best player in the NBA. He'll be an unrestricted free agent. We already talked about that. So, quick. So your kind of views of the free agency with different players moving around. We had Dwight Howard got traded yesterday. On the same day he got traded last summer from Atlanta to Charlotte.
Just to find out today,
he wanted to sign with Brooklyn when he left Orlando. He wanted to sign with Brooklyn when he left LA, the Lakers. So it's odd that he finally gets a chance to get there. But as of this morning, they announced that they're probably going to buy out Dwight Howard.
He didn't even pack his bags yet.
So it looks like Dwight Howard might be a free agent this coming summer too. He's coming off his best season in a few years.
Question, sorry, Coach, but where would you put him on your list as now a free agent between your list and this number? If you have to squeeze him in, who would you put him in?
I would put Dwight right behind Aaron Gordon, right above Tyreek Evans, in between the 6 and 7.
Okay.
He's definitely still a starting center. He's a notch below elite, but he's still an elite rebounder and rim protector in his league. He's not nearly the athletic beast that he was before because of the back injury that's probably hampered him.
He played the most games since Orlando. He played 81 games.
He played a full season, was healthy all season, contributed every game. I think Dwight has to go into the right situation.
I think now is a personality thing. I think now it's not even just about the stats. It's not about the numbers.
Correct.
It's mainly because like what you said earlier about with the whole locker room situation.
Correct.
I think it's who can really work with Dwight.
Correct. I would have to look to, I would say, the scary team that could get him, that I thought about this morning, honestly, is like the Warriors. You're going to be confused when I say the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. The Boston Celtics, if they was able to match Al Horford and Dwight Howard at the top.
They don't really have a real big.
Yeah, and then if you put now, you can even put Dwight coming off the bench. Mm-hmm. But and again, like Brad Stevens and that entire organization, they would welcome or be able to have a locker room, because you never heard locker room problems over there. That's not something that Brad Stevenson would allow. So, and he's very warm to any personality that he has, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like if Boston was to get him, the league would be in trouble, because then I don't think anybody could beat Boston. I don't think the Warriors could beat Boston. They would be almost too talented to lose with one of the most talented coaches in the game. So,
like the Warriors will be forced to put JaVale McGee in and cause a whole shift in their offense, because now who's going to guard?
Not even that, like this. You put two legit defensive anchors in Al Horford and Dwight Howard behind already great perimeter defenders like a Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart. You're not going to score. And then on the other side, Tatum, Kyrie, Irving could score on anybody. You're not going to be able to beat that team, like with Brad Stevenson as that coach. So I'm just saying, so for Dwight Howard, there's a particular couple places he could go, and he'll be a real plus. Even with San Antonio, if they added him, he could be a real plus out there. Even like the Portland Trail Blazers, that would be a huge pickup for them, because it would allow Usage to really play the power forward kind of role, which is more for him.
Yeah.
And then, there's a team that could get him, but it's also, the league is a weird league.
It depends on where he fits as far as a team. And
speaking of Spurs, they have Kawhi Leonard situation going on. Yes. It seems like Kawhi definitely wants out. They
said some of the Spurs sponsors said that he hasn't asked for a trade, but everyone else seems like he is. Yeah. And that's the interesting situation, because it's like, how much or what are you willing to spend on a Kawhi Leonard when you don't know what's his full disclosure of his injury? So do you have to first bring him into your doctor to see how bad is he? And you have to get a workout with him before you even do this? Or do you just make the trade just off he's good?
Correct. I think, so looking at it from afar, I feel like Kawhi Leonard is already healthy. Mm-hmm. I think Kawhi Leonard is, he made a determination he wasn't going to play. So I'm trying to read through the tea leaves kind of sort of it. So like the interviews from everybody, Popovich, the players, and then like this quote unquote the sources. out of Kawhi Leonard. So at the back end of the year, we heard that Kawhi Leonard was back on the court and he was already in New York training. And this is when it was like he might play for the playoffs. So the idea was that Kawhi would be back for the playoffs. He's already on the court. He's playing. He might even practice with the team when he flies back to San Antonio. But then it was like he's training in New York. And then Stephen A. is like the connection between the Spurs and Kawhi's camp is not good. That to me was telling. So it was like, all right, if he's already... And then again, he was already cleared by the San Antonio staff before he even flew to New York. So to me, that lets me know if he's already on the court training in New York, he's probably healthy to play basketball. It probably was like, I'm not going to play now for the playoffs when I haven't played now for the last 3 months. Like, I won't be good enough to be who I want to be in the playoffs. But I can play now. I'm healthy.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I look, when people say, like, we don't even know if he's fully healthy, I think he already is. He's just now, I'm not playing with that team no more. For y'all, and then I think the next side of it was when he was training in New York. All you heard, Mono came out and was like, "We got a plan without him being it." To me, that's disrespectful. Like, regardless of what it is, that's disrespectful. And I think Kawhi probably took it disrespectful because if you can see the other players around that it was asked about on TV, like Steven Jackson, Eddie House, some of the players that was on First Take, there was like that shows that a teammate don't have somebody back. Like, why are they even saying this? And then Steven Jackson was like, that's Popovich telling Parker and Ginobili to actually say these things to kind of almost like force Kawhi to like, yo, like play. Like, we know you can play. You don't have to be at your 100%, but we need you for the playoffs. So maybe through the teammates that you respect, we'll get the message across like, yo, we just, even if we could get you 80%, we just want you to play. And then Kawhi's like, yo, y'all misdiagnosed me before. And now y'all gonna say that I'm not trying to play. Like, y'all gonna question whether or not
he got
my heart of playing.
I know he got really upset when he wanted to have a second opinion.
Yeah,
they refused it. They didn't like it or something like that. So he got really offended.
So to me, it's like at that point, Kawhi just don't want to. Like, once you have broken trust with your coach and your organization, there is no playing there. Especially if I'm a franchise level player. It's like any franchise level player. And we've seen this with many other players where them and the organization have gotten to a full. Carmelo happened with this in New York, where him and Phil and the organization was on different pages. So Carmelo's not there no more. Like, in the front office guys are no longer there no more.
We actually seen it with a non-franchise player with Rodney Hood.
Correct. So it's like when, especially a star player, is not on the same page with the organization, somebody's going. So when LeBron and David Blatt wasn't on the same thing, David Blatt is going now. You know what I'm saying? Dwayne Wade had the problem with Fred Hoiberg in Chicago. Dwayne Wade is no longer in Chicago. Like, somebody has to go. So it's like once now the trust is completely broken. And then I thought like when Popovich's wife passed away, and Kawhi was very close to the wife, and like most of the players with the Spurs very close to Pop's wife.
We actually almost thought that he might just.
I thought like he would now at least give Pop the air, and I think that's why he at least gave Pop to me the other day. I think he's done. Like the trust has been broken with him and his teammates, and the trust has been broken with him and his coach. And it so happens that his coach is the president of basketball operations. So it's like not only that, he's the executive of the team too. So it's like you just the organization here. Like you don't have you're not here no more. I'm not playing with y'all no more. It doesn't matter. I will never suit up for y'all ever again. And I think that's where it's at with Kawhi. He's already healthy. He's already good. It's just I'm no longer ever playing with y'all ever again. Now I've broken the trust. I'm a star level player. I will never lace up for y'all again. And then he fired his agent, and now his manager is his uncle. So he's moving differently now.
He's moving differently,
and it's not going to be with the Spurs. Is what he's saying. And he's from LA. He wants to go back to LA. Stephen A's been reporting for like 3 months now. Kawhi wants to be in LA, whether it was the Clippers or Lakers. Jerry West is now with the Clippers, so don't count them out. They might definitely make a move for Kawhi. And Jerry West being Jerry West is a better chance that he gets Kawhi than Magic Johnson with the Lakers. But the Lakers are definitely in play. Is this what team is Popovich willing to trade Kawhi to now?
Who has what Pop needs?
Correct. Who's willing to give Pop more?
Because you got an aging Ginobili.
Yeah.
You got Rudy Gay out. Right. You have Aldridge who needs somebody.
Because now they got to rebuild now. Like the Spurs officially have to rebuild.
Yeah. Because Aldridge's not just
in the trade that I've been screaming out for like months now is with Boston. It's Kyrie Irving and Jaylen Brown, a first round pick for Kawhi Leonard. So, because Kyrie always said that one of the 4 teams that he never mentioned with the Knicks and the Spurs are the 2 main teams he wanted to go to. He's from New York. He want to play for the Knicks. He want to play with Porzingis, or he wants to play under Popovich. He's made that very clear. So now Kyrie's ready. So let's jump right into the Kyrie situation. Kyrie was reported the other day. He will not sign an extension with Boston. So after next year, he will be a free agent. There's a chance that at trade deadline, it will get very warm about possibly Kyrie being traded.
You hear these comments saying that they would wait until next year. He was waiting until after next season and see what if they can get into the same ballpark and talk the same situation and get it together. Mm-hmm. It almost seems like his time with the Cavs, he learned something from LeBron James of how to get negotiation to where it's like you have the ball in your court.
I think with Kobe being his mentor, his time with LeBron, I think with Kyrie, he got a movie coming out.
Yes, he was shooting his movie. He spoke mainly of the movie during the whole time of these conversations, but he's pretty much saying like, we'll see what happens after next year.
Yeah.
But he says he really wants to bring a championship to this team, so that doesn't mean that he can't do it within next year. Mm-hmm. But I think his all time will tell. Like it could go any way.
I won't be shocked if Kyrie gets traded tonight, draft night.
Maybe it depends on who they pick. Yeah, that's how everything goes.
I would not be shocked. So we'll see what happens with Kyrie again. Kyrie has spoken that he would love to be a Spur under Pop, or he'd love to be a Knick. He's from New York. He's from Jersey, but his father's from the Bronx. His godfather is Rod Strickland. Mm-hmm. So he has an enormous amount of New York ties. He's been saying there's
no New Jersey Nets.
He's enamored with Kristaps Porzingis. So there's a chance if he does become a free agent, the Knicks would be his first choice. And the Knicks should not make the trade for Kyrie because it'll be a Carmelo situation. They would have to give a Frank Ntilikina. Boston has already said the only way that they'll even talk Kyrie is if Ntilikina is involved in the trade. I've already said there's no reason for Ntilikina or Porzingis to ever be traded from the Knicks. Like, they're not even on the table.
If you drafted these players for your team, it doesn't make sense for you to trade them before they even progress. And then you're going to have that sign of the Knicks fortune where you give away the players before they get good.
Correct. Look at James Harden. 3 years with OKC. Was a 3rd pick in the draft. They traded him. Superstar. Like, that's a 3rd pick in the draft. He's a supremely talented player for a reason. Now, you give him the opportunity, he will flourish. Like, I believe Emmanuel Mudiay will be the 2019 most improved player. But we'll get into that another time. So, speaking of all this possibilities, we have the Lakers have had a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Lakers actually just traded for the Philadelphia 2nd round pick, the 39th pick overall.
So, maybe speaking of Philly, got 6 picks. They can do a lot.
Yes. So, but the Lakers traded for cash. The Lakers also did work out Lonzo's little brother, Jello Ball. And
LeVar Ball spoke it.
LeVar Ball has been
said, I got 2 more years and 2 more sons coming to the LA.
Yeah, he was talking Lonzo Ball before he was in UCLA that he was going to be a Laker.
He was 2
years later, he became a Laker.
Chino Hill.
Correct. So once that happens, how can you doubt this man? And now, after the Lakers just made the trade for a 2nd round pick for cash, which is really nothing, and they got a second round pick now, to think they won't use one of these 2nd round picks on Lonzo Ball's son that they already worked out.
Lonzo Ball's brother. Yeah.
That LeVar's been saying. And I want to give another to LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball has his league, the Big Baller Brand League, the junior league that's going to have prospects that don't want to go to college particularly or don't want to go overseas. Still can be exposed, still can have their chance to play competitive basketball.
Same what he's going to pay them?
Yes. Mm-hmm. He's going to pay them, I think it's $1,000 a month or up to $4,000 a month.
Depending on the player, yeah.
So it's something that was my whole life. I was hoping that, at some point, because I think the NHL or the hockey league, they have the Canada League, which, kids from 16 years old can play out there, and then they can still get drafted. They don't have to go to college.
FIFA, you can start getting paid at 14.
So I think LeVar's doing something that at least can now start to at least get this started. If it's not his league, maybe this will create another league that will be more like...
Creates a conversation.
Straight. It at least gets the ball rolling, so to speak. So, big shout-outs to that. That's going to happen in a couple of days.
Ball family balling out.
Facts. So, lastly on the NBA talk, tonight we have the NBA draft.
Oh, yes.
Well, we're waiting on for a long time. There's a lot of big-time players, a lot of big-time prospects that, might be the next superstars in the NBA.
Yes, and true. They got the unofficial official number 1 draft pick DeAndre Ayton, who everyone almost feels that if he slides past number 1, it's a mistake by the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, I think of him as a Joel Embiid meets Patrick Ewing.
But a healthy Joel Embiid.
Yeah. The reason I would say he's more, because he's a lot more. What's the word? He's a lot more fits. He's a lot more of a, like Joel Embiid was a raw talent. Yeah. Joel Embiid started playing basketball when he was, I believe, 14. He's a former volleyball playing in Africa. That's where Joel kind of. Whereas Aiden, he wants this. Like he been on this. Like,
you can watch him play. He just looks NBA ready.
And I think part of Joel Embiid injuries is because his body was more trained to play volleyball. And some of the injuries he has is from like some of the things he does not mechanically good for a basketball player.
Your body's it's called muscle memory.
Correct.
So if your body's not used to this type of movements on a regular basis, it's different movements that you're doing.
Exactly. So that's what's harming it. And whereas Aiden will not have those problems. He does not have the injury history at all. So he's definitely a more healthy Joel Embiid. Does everything that Embiid does. Can score back to the basket, can shoot the ball.
If not better.
I won't say because I will say Joel Embiid actually had a much better post game.
And
post game. But shooting wise, I will definitely say Aiden can shoot the ball just as well, if not better. Defensively, I think Embiid was well more versatile for sure.
Aiden's gonna have a little
definitely
struggles.
a better rebounder. Yes. He's a definitely legit rebounder, whereas Joel is not. So I'll give you that.
I think DeAndre's gonna have a little bit of struggles in defense as far as foot placements and stuff like that.
A little bit. But I think
it's not going to be that much where it
at all. He already has the aggression that will make him a good defensive player.
And I think within this time period before he gets in there, he's going to get a lot of training where
that's all he needs. He needs the right coach to just put him in so he has it all. And that's why I would say he's a hands down number 1 pick. Now the next player that a lot of people are saying should be the number 1 pick, the way the media is propping up as the number 1 pick, is the European star Luka Doncic. Yeah. So because he's 18, he was in Spain, which the Spanish league is the second best league in the world to the NBA. Many people saying he's the MVP at 18. But the Spanish league is virtually comparable to the G League. That's really where the level of talent is, and the G League would be a notch above NCAA Division I. So it's like, yes, he dominated. Yes, he did well, but he didn't really dominate. He averaged 14 points. 5 assists and 5 rebounds in 25 minutes of action. Yeah,
and watching his games, I didn't see it. He was not like the main person for that team. Like he was a role player, a good role player as far as in that function of a team.
I'm not knocking his accomplishments. They're definitely impressive.
It's going to be good.
The person or the reason I would say people to caution Doncic is Ricky Rubio. Yes. Like Ricky Rubio also came from that Spanish league, and the same things that we're talking about Doncic, Rubio was the first one to get those. He was the youngest teenage all Spanish league first team. He was defensive player of the year at age 17 in that Spanish league. He was also he won championships out there and then he stayed 2 years later and came over to NBA at 21. And you could still see in Rubio's career, he was predicted to be the next Steve Nash. Do you think that that's what he became? And it's like, if you look at his numbers in that league, he averaged 11, 5, and 4. Almost 3 steals a game. Like, he's a defensive star. And in the league, he's an underrated defender. He's an elite defender, really. But you don't really notice that because the defense is not a stat-driven thing. So, with Doncic he has James Harden-like ability at offensively deciphering the game. Almost like the way Jeremy Lin could run the pick and roll very well, the same way James Harden. He's what you would call the best version of what D'Antoni's system creates. He can run the pick and roll with anybody. He has high basketball IQ. And he can shoot the ball. He can create offense. But he's not very athletic. And from what scouts said that actually are players that played against him in that league that used to play in the NBA said he struggled most against athletic wings. The whole NBA is full of those. Like, full of those. Like, on every night, even the bench player is an extremely athletic wing. So, now you go up against some of these actual defenders like Trevor Ariza or Andre Iguodala, or even, let's say, Frank Ntilikina or Paul George, wingy defenders, he will not be able to do none of the things that you're seeing him doing at all.
He kind of reminds me maybe I could be, like how Tony Kukoc was showcased, where he's like very he could do everything. Then you see him in the league, was like you don't see him as physical he was when he was where he was.
And I've heard people compare Porzingis in that league only averaged 11 and 5, and like Porzingis turned out to be great. Well, here's the thing about the game. Like, Porzingis only played 20 minutes a game. He only played 2 years in that league, whereas Doncic has been playing in that league since he was 15. He's had 4 years in that league, actually. So 2 more years in Porzingis. Not to mention, Porzingis is not a guard. He didn't have the ball in his hands all the time. He didn't have a high usage rate the way Doncic gets a chance to basically dictate his numbers.
And also, Porzingis like 7 foot something. Like, he could shoot over anybody.
Like, Porzingis actually was more of a defensive player also in that league. He actually was one of the higher block shots. Part of why Porzingis is rare as hell. Mm-hmm. He's 7'3", plays like a guard on offense, but on defense can actually rim protect. Mm-hmm. That's what makes him rare as hell. He's literally Dirk meets Kevin Garnett. Literally. And those are his 2 idols.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moving on. We have Mohamed Bamba out of Texas. He's one of my personal favorites in this draft. He's actually 7 foot tall, has the longest reported wingspan in history. 7'9" wingspan, longer than Rudy Gobert. And what I think about that is he's only 19 years old. He's from Harlem. But he's only 19 years old. He's still gonna grow.
Yeah.
So by the time he falls out at 22, I expect him to be something like 7'2" with an 8'1" wingspan. That's George Marisan. Like, that's Yao Ming. Like, that's unheard of. And the fact that he can actually shoot the ball.
Yes.
But then he can actually block like the Dikembe Mutombo. Yeah. Like, I think he has the highest ceiling in this entire draft. And I love Ayton. I really do. Mm-hmm. But the Bamba has a rare physical tools. Mm-hmm. Rare. Like, this is like Antetokounmpo. This is very rare. So, we have Bamba there. Number 3, I got Marvin Bagley.
Marvin Bagley.
Out of Duke. Just signed with Puma. Dropped a rap track. Mm-hmm.
He's a 20 and 10 player. He's gonna be a 20 and 10 player. I think that's the best way.
He reminds me a lot of Josh Smith, and I think that Atlanta Hawks should draft him. Mm-hmm. To me, Bagley's a little bit of a tweener. I think that's why I'm not too sure how he will. I think he has to go to the right coach in the right situation. He can easily not translate in the NBA with the wrong situation, because the way he plays. He's a basketball player. He's not necessarily he does one thing well. He's just a basketball player.
Yeah, it just when I watch him play, yeah. I like the way that he moves off of screens. Yeah. He gets into the right position. He's always, as far as a fast break, as far as if I seen him in Houston, he'll be perfect there. Yeah. Like, I think with a James Harden, he'll be perfect. He'll always be in the right spot to be where he'll always get the ball because he knows how to finish.
High IQ, great finisher.
Yeah.
Extreme athlete. One of the quickest leapers, second leapers, third leapers, supreme rebounder. Mm-hmm. So I think in the right situation, but it depends on the situation for this kid. But I still think he will get his numbers regardless. He's one of those kind of like Michael Beasley's. Mm-hmm. He will get his numbers regardless. But it's also dictate on situation how good his career will go, though. Mm-hmm. Number 4, I got Jaren Jackson Jr. out of Michigan State. Father played in the league.
Potential 2-way player.
I feel like he's one of those like Klay Thompson, Steph Curry's. When Kobe Bryant. Wait, your father played in the league and had a career, so the son becomes a superstar.
You get a step up. Yeah, you get that little head start over everyone else.
Youthful exposure now. He's 19.
You've been in locker rooms when you probably was a child. You understand the format. You probably You probably went through playbooks or went through films with your father.
Not to mention he's exposed to higher levels. So by the time he's like 14, he's playing against NBA players because of that exposure. Mm-hmm. Person I compare him to is actually Chris Bosh. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be a lot like Chris Bosh when he first came to Toronto. He's long. He has a funky jump shot, almost like Chris Bosh had coming out. Yeah. But he can do everything well, and offensively he has the tools.
But I don't think his numbers ain't going to wow you.
Yeah, he's better defensively than he is offensively. Yes. So Bosh was, I think, higher offensively.
I think he was defensively in blocks.
Yeah, he led the entire NCAA in
blocks. Yes.
So it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But offensively, he has a lot of potential. But he played with Miles Bridges, who was the offensive player there. He didn't get a lot of options, chances. Mm-hmm. So we'll see his offense take off in the NBA, I think. Number 5, I actually got Mikal Bridges out of Villanova. Mm-hmm. I think he's the best defender in the entire draft. I think he has a chance to be almost like Scottie Pippen level defender. Like, from when I continue to watch the tape, I heard a lot of people say like he gets beat off the dribble a little too much. I think that's because he was still filling into his body. He's a very late bloomer. Mm-hmm. They say he was only about 170 pounds his freshman year of college. That's why he redshirted.
Mm-hmm.
He actually went 4 years of college and played 3 years, redshirted a year because he was so physically underdeveloped when he first came there.
But he has a 3 years.
But now he's about to turn 22. He's very mature. I think he's gonna jump right in and be an elite defender.
He could be like Jason Tatum of this last year.
I won't say Jason Tatum because he's not offensive. Like he's gonna do it defensively, and I think the stats are not gonna show that. So we're not gonna see how great he was his first. He might average 8 points, but he's already gonna be an elite defender.
The reason I do like
he's gonna affect wins from day one.
Only reason why I do like him is because his last year, though the year before they went for there was a championship team, and he wasn't the main vocal point. But then this year, a championship again, and he was the main reason.
Yeah.
And I just shows like he
was a part of championship teams.
He's been around champions, so he ready. It's like being around champions is almost like being NBA ready, close to me. So it's like you have that challenge where you're getting that focus in. So it's like, and then to be able to lead a team that's already previously won a championship, and you take that role, I think that gives you a good step up.
I think he's one of those players that will always win for his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
Like he will always be part. You'll always see him in the playoffs.
Like you'll see
where he goes.
Yeah, he'll just be like that.
He will always be almost like Iguodala. Like
yes, that's what I was about to say.
Iguodala, Trevor Ariza, who we've always seen in these winning situations with the Lakers. Now with Houston,
they'll be in that position where it's like, he's helping out.
And I think he's the best shooter in the entire draft. I don't think people even know.
He has a great 3-point shooter.
He's an elite shooter. Like, and then he has a 7'2" wingspan. He shoots above his head. Like you can't block that.
Mm-hmm.
He's an elite shooter. So he's Klay Thompson, but a supreme defender. So Klay Thompson is a better scorer and can score in a multitude of ways. Yeah, but he's a Klay level shooter. Like spot up shooter, he's Klay Thompson level. But he's an elite defender. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So it's like that's why I was like, where he goes right off the bat. I had Philadelphia because he's from Philly. Wants him, and I think if Philly gets him,
that's amazing.
Like they can now compete to go to finals next year.
Because
next year
with Simmons and
they'll have
Fultz passing him the ball when he's gonna be wide open.
Like Fultz, Simmons, Bridges, Covington, Saric, like literally, and I think they're enamored with him also. So if he falls past the Knicks, they're gonna snatch him up with the quickness. Number 6, and really this is actually who I think might end up being the biggest star out of this entire draft. Colin Sexton out of Alabama. Point guard.
They compare him to Westbrook, John Wall. He's explosive with the ball in his hand and without.
Yo, so his 2 idols that he looked up to growing up was Russell Westbrook and Kevin Garnett. Like these are the 2 players that he really looks to for his inspiration and who he looked up to. And like if you look at his mentality, he wants, and he says it, I want to dominate on both ends. I want to lock up whoever I'm guarding, and I want to dominate on the other side. I don't think his shot looks funny, but he can really score.
Yeah, the way he comes off with screens, and it's not like you see some players that come off the screen and they look for the pass or they might think of the shot. If the shot is there, he's taking it, and it's almost always going in. And it's an ugly shot.
It's an ugly shot. That's why people don't think that it's good.
It's like Sean Marion shooting, but you know,
it's a funny shot, but like, and the person I compare him to most is Terrell Brandon. Now, most people don't really remember Terrell Brandon, don't really remember what he was about, but Terrell Brandon at his best was actually with the Cavaliers. He was a star 2-way guard, all-star and all that. So, and then, all right, so what people were missing, he went to Alabama just to be coached by Avery Johnson. Mm-hmm. He could have went to any one of, he was a top tier prospect, and Alabama's not for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't win much this year either. They didn't have a lot of talent around him because they're not known for basketball, but he went there to be coached by Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson was in the league for over 10 years. Avery Johnson played with a championship team with the Spurs, played under Greg Popovich. Actually, he was with the Nets when the Nets first came to Brooklyn. He coached Darren Williams. Avery Johnson is considered the floor general. That was his nickname. The little general is his nickname. So now, Sexton, who had all of Avery Johnson's mentality, but Avery Johnson never had nearly the amount of talent that Colin Sexton had coming. He's an athletic freak. 6'3", 6'7" wingspan, can jump out the gym, physically can do it to people. And then he's a football player too that he has a background of. Anyway, so now with Colin Sexton, I think he
has an amazing
he will end up being a superstar. That is without a doubt in my eyes. Like, so it's like where he goes, and I think if Cleveland is lucky enough to get him, Cleveland goes back to the finals next year with this kid starting as their point guard next to LeBron James, replacing Kyrie like Kyrie was never there. Because Kyrie can't play defense like this kid can play. And this kid is not going to be missing games the way Kyrie gets hurt.
That's why I have him as a scoring guard and a two-way potential all-star.
And learning under Avery Johnson for that 1 year, that makes him prepared for the NBA the way none of these other draft picks like a Trey Young or like Shea Algis. I can't get his name probably. Shea Gilgeous Alexander. Like none of them have the same kind of quality. Like Avery Johnson was actually a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Actually played in the league. Played with David Robinson. Played under Popovich with the Spurs. The best team for the last 30 years. He was part of that coming up. You know what I mean? Like he was part of that developing itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sexton's gonna be a superstar. Number 7, I do have Luka Doncic. Now, I do think he's gonna be a star. I think he's definitely going to.
I thought you had Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I spoke about him, but I think
I
top 10. I got him at number 7.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he had. Oh, you were just saying.
Well, but the number 1 pick he's been spoken about.
Oh, okay.
I spoke a little bit about him.
Okay.
So I do think he has star potential. I think at the high point for him is James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's if he. But the person I compare him most to is actually Steve Smith, who's known for the Smitty. Like you see him as a commentator on NBA TV, but as a player, he was 6'8", had point guard skills, can shoot the ball from long range, had good handles. But, you know what I mean, was a good player on the all-star level, but never really a superstar, never really a franchise player, but was at all-star level. I think that's what Doncic will eventually be.
That's interesting.
Moving into number 8, Kevin Knox out of Kentucky.
Okay.
Love this kid. It's funny for me, before the season even started this year, I like to look at the players going into the college year and seeing what player I think the Knicks should take. So last year, I originally saw De'Aaron Fox and Frank Ntilikina. And it just so happened that Frank Ntilikina became our pick 8 months later. So this year, it was Kevin Knox for me. Like, I looked at him and I was like, he reminds me of Tayshaun Prince. Tayshaun Prince was drafted by Scott Perry in Detroit and became the 3 for them in that championship team. So, like, I think Scott Perry would look at Kevin Knox well before he even had his year. So, now, in this draft process, now it's like, wow. He actually might be one of the players that the Knicks are looking at. Again, I might have got it right 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So with Kevin Knox, though, I think he has the highest upside out of all of these top 10 players because he played with freshmen that were all going to be lottery picks at Kentucky, and that's going to make you look lesser than what you are. Like Anthony Davis, most people that would never have predicted him to be this level because in college he only averaged like 9 points, but he was playing with a bunch of other lottery players, so he had to share the wealth. What else we see that? We seen that with Rondo when he went to Kentucky. He went to deep in the first round because he didn't show out what he was. Devin Booker never looked that way in Kentucky as a freshman because he was playing with also a bunch of other players that need to get the ball, need to shoot the ball. Malik Monk, another one. De'Aaron Fox had to sacrifice a little. John Wall, when he was there, had to sacrifice. Eric Bledsoe was a 6th man at Kentucky his freshman year. So I think the same will happen with Kevin Knox. He's going to be a lot better when he gets to the league. And the player that I compare him to most is Rudy Gay. Like, he is Rudy Gay coming out right now. Like, he can really be Rudy Gay. Where he has, offensively, he can do whatever he wants to. And he's long enough that in the league, he will become a defensive player. So, that's what I got for number 8. I love Knox. Number 9, I got Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
Was considered the top player out of high school in this class, but had a back injury. And he had hip tendonitis. He's had hip tendonitis since high school. And to me, now that I know kind of a little bit about medicals and health, I think that hip tendonitis is directly related to his back problem and the fact that he had to have back surgery. So the back surgery that he actually had, the players that have had that also, Danilo Gallinari, Al Harrington, Dwight Howard, Tony Romo, Tiger Woods. Like, not one of them have ever came back physically better. And this happened to him at 19 years old. He turned 20. So, this is impressive for me. So it's like, I just don't think that he's going to, I don't think he could be good now. I just don't think it's possible because this is still a game of athletes. Like, it's still a game in which you athletically have to be gifted first. Like, you have to be a gifted athlete first to play in the NBA before we get into hitting shots or any of that stuff or playing with the basketball.
You're going to have to be able to run back and forth
against other supreme athletes.
No, this not even before that. This is just practice. You're gonna be able to run back and forth. If you can't even handle that, and what was it? I think we mentioned that he couldn't even make a workout.
Yes, he had his pro day. They had to cancel because he had hip soreness,
and he haven't played since March. And it's 2-3 months later, and you still can't play.
Like, yeah, I got bounced out of the tournament.
They're expecting you to play this summer.
So I think the team that gets him, and I think it's gonna be like Harry Giles, where you need to redshirt him for his entire first year to let that back get right.
Maybe too.
And the way I look at it like this is like Dwight Howard was literally the most freakish athlete I have ever seen in my life so far. Like 6'11", can jump higher than guards, can run faster than guards.
In a dunk contest, he put the rim up.
Like Dwight Howard was physically the most imposing athlete we had ever saw in the NBA. Like, we call him Superman because of it, right? And he had the same back injury at 24, and was never able to physically be the same at 24. So he was still young enough to recover. And if this guy, who was the most physically gifted player that the NBA has ever saw, couldn't recover from it, why would I think an 18-year-old that wasn't the most physically gifted athlete out of high school can now recover back and become a more gifted athlete as he grows into the NBA? I don't think it's possible. I'm not trying to knock his stock because I think that's money in his pocket. So I hope the best. I still think that he has the talent. He has a supreme jump shot.
When healthy, it's a solid pick.
So that's how I kind of see that. I think he's going to drop for sure. We'll see what happens. Maybe Memphis takes him forth. Memphis is the general manager, makes interesting decisions. Firing Fizdale and signing Chandler Parsons for 4 years.
And now trying to trade Chandler Parsons for the 4th round pick. 4th pick.
And this is the same
4th lottery pick.
Same general manager's fired now 3 consecutive successful coaches.
Yes.
That's Lionel Hollins, that's David Yogurt, and that's David Fizdale. 3 successful coaches, all been fired.
Because they can't get along with your head play.
Traded Zach Randolph out of there for what reasons we still don't know. We still don't know. But he's a general manager over there. That's what it is, right? And then lastly, number 10 is not Trae Young. It will be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
You got the name right.
I absolutely love this kid. He reminds me a lot of my own personal favorite in the Knicks, Frank Ntilikina. As he's 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, and he's really a combo guard naturally. He can play some point guard. He can play off the ball. He has a funky looking shot, but when he sets his feet, it looks good. And he has high basketball IQ. Like, really can think the game out on both ends of the basket. Can end up being a lockdown defender if he commits there. But like I said, his size makes him imposing when he grows. He's 19 also. So when he fully grows out, he might end up being 6'8" with like a 7'3" wingspan. I'm thinking like Sean Livingston long when he finally grows out. So it's like he already has the skills. Like, he can play. He can definitely play. He can defend. He can rebound. He can score. He can pass. He can run a team. He's a good player. So that's my top 10 for the NBA draft going on tonight.
Yes, it is. I like your top 10. As far as like pretty much those players will be, I think those are the top. I think some names that you couldn't mention that some people will be bringing up. So Trae.
Oh, I got some sleepers for me.
So you got the Trae Young. As far as handles, shooting,
correct,
court vision,
correct.
I think he has all the intangibles to be a decent point guard. But my main concern is his size and his defense.
Correct.
That's the main thing that I have with him. That is.
And I actually did some research to the size thing, because a lot of people say, like, well, Steph Curry was small too. So I looked at the measurements. So Trae Young without shoes measures at 6 foot even, 170 pounds.
Soaking wet.
Steph Curry came into the league without shoes, measured at 6'3", 170 pounds. So I understand the weight aspect of it, but now Steph Curry is probably about 6'3.5" now with a 6'5" wingspan. He's a lot bigger. Like Trae Young, they have him listed some places at 6'2". He's not that big.
And the fact that he's a liability on defense.
He's very light. And he turned the ball over a lot in college due to a lot of his size problems, like not being able to see over the defense. In the NBA, these athletes are gonna get bigger, faster, and if you turn the ball over that much, then I don't see how people feel like he'll get better at turning the ball over against better defenses. And he's going to take him, like, as a point guard, point guard in the NBA, it's going to take him time.
You're more playing against more veteran players, not a whole bunch of freshmen.
And he's 19, so I do feel like it's going to take him 3 years to get to where he's going to be. So this idea that he could plug him in right now with Porzingis, or you could plug him right in with the Cavs, and he's going to be like, no, The only way that you could plug a player right in and they could be successful is that they could play defense. That's what gets you on the court from day one in the NBA. It's not being able to score because you're not going to be able to score the way you did in college your first year. Say, look at Malik Monk. Look at Dennis Smith Jr. They would score. Look at Markelle Fultz.
But then you look at Donovan Mitchell, who actually can play defense.
Fact. Donovan Mitchell was a defender coming out of college.
But
that's what got him on the court.
Everyone thinks he's a scorer, but they don't realize he plays defense.
Correct. Very much correct. Luke Kennard. Sharpshooter in college. Couldn't get on the court. Malik Monk.
Defense.
Scorer.
Don't play defense. So that's the one interesting player we're going to see because I think he's probably going to be a lottery pick as far as the draft. But
he might even go top 5.
But we'll see what happens when he plays.
Facts.
Another player I have is Miles Bridges.
Facts, though. Michigan.
So to me, he kind of reminds me of those Morris twins. I think he could be similar to them, in that type of form, because he's like. Yeah. You don't really know his size.
Yeah.
He's like a full. He's
actually 6'6".
Yeah. So not as far as size, but I mean like his play position. He can almost play the power forward. He can play. I think he's better at the 3, where he can run the floor. He can score. He can play defense. He can do a little bit of everything, and he just reminded me of that player, and he can get that shot off by himself. He doesn't need a guard to get him that shot. He can get it off himself. I kind of see he'll have that role player type of situation with him too.
Correct.
And the next other player that I think that also misses is Wendell Carter.
Yes.
I think that's another player that I think like how you just mentioned, overshadowed by talent.
But I feel like people are overshooting him now. So people have said like because he was playing with Marvin Bagley, like his production suffered. Mm-hmm. And to that point, I agree. Mm-hmm. Like he could have scored more. He's a better offensive talent than it showed. Agreed. But then the idea when a lot of people say that he's definitely Al Horford. Like people forget that Al Horford was the 3rd pick in the draft. Like he was considered a savant defensive anchor. Yeah. Like he won 2 championships in college.
I won't go that far.
So when they make that comparison, like he's
a big jump. That's a big jump. That's a big jump.
No, he's not. Like offensively, yeah, like he can do some things. Like he can shoot the ball. He has a good offensive game. But to me, it's like I look at him more like Antonio McDyess. You know what I mean? Where it's like he is good on both ends, but he's not elite on neither. Mm-hmm. So this idea, like to me,
he'll be a great role player for me.
Correct, and I think when you draft it in the top 10, you need to be elite in one particular thing, whether it's like athleticism, rebounding, defense, offense, shooting, ball handling. You have to be elite at one aspect of the game for you to be a top 10 pick. He's not elite in nothing.
I think
he's a good prospect.
What I like about him, I think he's I can't know the word you use, but it's like he's a roster per like he's gonna make a roster.
He's a starter.
He's a starter.
He's an NBA player.
Yes,
hands down. He's an NBA player.
That's where I get him. So that's about it as far as. Besides that, everyone else I have like mentioned as far as players, I think that is going to be one of the tops.
Okay, so I'll just run through my sleepers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got 3 levels of sleepers for you, and I'll start off with my honorable mention though. So my honorable mention, I got Colin Sexton. I'm gonna have him as a sleeper because I think he's gonna end up being the best. Like, I don't want to say the best player in the draft because that's very subjective. Like, you can even look at any draft and you can kind of say, oh, maybe he had a better career. He won more championships. He did. Oh, he had more All-Star games or whatever. But I think he's going to be a hands-down superstar out of this draft. And I don't think people are seeing it. Like, when we redraft this, he's going to be a top 3 redraft in 5 years. For sure. Number 2 sleeper, I got Hamidou Diallo.
Okay.
He's from Queens.
Yeah.
So I've known him before he even got into this. I've been
already spoke about him from last time.
I think he has Kobe Bryant, J.R. Smith, Gerald Green level athleticism. He's a lot more compared to Gerald Green as far as like he's very raw, but he's a supreme athlete.
He kind of reminds me of that kid from Phoenix Suns picked him up. That kid that just be flying and dunking on everybody.
Oh, I think I know you mean.
I can't remember.
Josh Jackson?
No, not Josh Jackson. He was there for about 2-3 years. I'll get his name.
I think you mean Gerald Green too, though.
No. It's a kid. I think he's there now.
Okay.
I'll get his name. I'll get his name in a few minutes.
So with Hamidou Diallo, I think with Kentucky, he wasn't able to find his niche. So I think he could end up being a steal if he gets in the right situation. He could be a very talented player, supreme athlete. And I got number 3. I got Eli Uboku. He's an international player, left-handed. He reminds me a lot of Patty Mills. But once I look into his measurables, Oh, he could be a lot better than people think. He's 6'3" with a 6'8" wingspan. Can shoot from anywhere. Plays a lot like Patty Mills. Like that's his game.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still gonna grow. He's I believe 19 years old. So when he grows, he might end up being 6'4" with like a 6'10" wingspan, and can score. Like really can score. So I think he would be a nice steal for whoever's able to get him in the back end of the first round. So let me get into my real sleepers.
Mm-hmm.
First round, my lottery sleepers. Number one, I got Mohamed Bamba out of Texas. I think he's a sleeper because I don't think people realize how great this kid can be. Like, first off, the idea that he has the longest recorded wingspan ever, and he's 19 years old, meaning he's still growing. That in itself is special. And he can shoot threes. Like, he can literally shoot. Like,
Derrick Jones.
Okay.
Yeah,
he was in the dunk contest.
Yeah,
Derrick Jones. Okay.
Yeah, that's something you kind of have that athleticism. Yeah.
So we got Mo Bamba. Ridiculous potential. Number two, I got Kevin Knox.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like his potential is through the roof because of the fact that he played in that Kentucky thing where I feel like you don't get a chance to see how good they can be because they're playing with so many other lottery talents. Like playing with all-star teams.
Yeah.
You never see how good you are because you're playing with all-star teams. Like James Harden with OKC. You couldn't see how good he was because he's playing with Westbrook. He's playing with Durant.
No, you get an all-star team and then you get Al Horford in there and you don't realize how good he is because he's
exactly that.
Beyond it.
And keeping up with the Kentucky kids. Number three, I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's been definitely underappreciated because of his situation. I think he can be a little bit better than what we project or what has been predicted. Mm-hmm. So now, second, I got all-around first-round sleepers. So my first one I got is Mitchell Robinson. He had skipped out going to Western Kentucky. He basically coming straight out of high school. Definitely, the Lakers said that they'll take him if he falls to them at 25. That would be a steal that the Lakers gave him at 25. They say he has an elite shot blocker. Something like Marcus Camby, Hassan Whiteside, but because he didn't go to college, nobody has any tape on him for like the last year. He's been the forgotten man. I feel like he's somewhere around the 15 to 18 range of like how good he is in the draft, but he might end up falling to the back end of the first round of the Lakers, who had promised that if he's there at 25, they're going to take him. If they get him, and they get LeBron or whoever they sign in the offseason, the Lakers are cooking with Kyle Kuzma and so forth. Number two, I got Bruce Brown Jr. I became infatuated with Bruce Brown Jr. when I saw him coming into this year because he reminds me of a carbon copy of Russell Westbrook. Like, looks almost exactly like Russell Westbrook. Triple-double threat every time he came out there on the floor. Like, literally 6'5" with about 6'9" wingspan. And his favorite players was Russell Westbrook. Mm-hmm. Like, that's who he primed his game off of. Aggressive. Game just like Russell Westbrook. Like, but he got hurt this past year. Played with Lonnie Walker in the backcourt. So Lonnie Walker, who might be a top 10 pick, kind of took away some of the shine. So I think he got kind of cat and they got hurt. So people didn't really get a chance to really know what he's about. But I think he will be shot. He might be end up the Donovan Mitchell of this draft. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And then number three, I got Anthony Simmons. Kid coming out of high school. Another kid that not a lot of tape on. Didn't play nowhere. Nobody's seen him. He's 6'3" with a 6'9" wingspan. Plays a lot like Malik Monk. Can jump out the gym. But can really shoot the ball. Like, plays a lot like C.J. McCollum. Can really come off the pick and roll and just score. Can shoot very well. So, whoever gets him and is able to develop him might get a steal. And then lastly, I just got my big-time potential mystery players. My first player actually took his name out the draft when I put this list together. His name was Brian Bowen. He was a 5-star prospect, but he got his name caught up in a scandal. Had to take his name out. It was was in the draft process. Looked good in the combine, but then because he didn't get any first round interest, took his name out a couple days ago.
Nice.
So he was to me because he was almost a baby Carmelo Anthony coming out of high school. Mm-hmm. He really scored. Was a small forward that was a very versatile scorer. 5-star recruit. But then had a little trouble with the problem, and then was actually in the combine, hit a bunch of threes during the combine. I guess he didn't get any interest for the first round, so he took his name out. He might play overseas for this year. We'll see what happens with him.
Nice. Putting the money on himself.
Number two, I got DeAnthony Melton. Like, this was a projected lottery player that, because of the scandal, got dropped from USC. He's what you call they would call him a Swiss Army knife, supreme defender that can actually score. He's comparable to Avery Bradley.
Is it DeAnthony Milton?
Yes, DeAnthony Milton. Played for USC as a freshman, but then got dropped this year because of the scandal. Apparently, he took money. But comparable to Avery Bradley.
So it's not the talent.
No.
It's the off the field.
Supreme defender, but can also do things offensively. Definitely an NBA player. So whoever gets him, they're getting a steal there. 6'3" with like a 6'9" wingspan. Very physical player. And then lastly on this, I got Isaac Bonga. I hope the Knicks get a chance to get him maybe in the second round, but he might not fall that far. He's basically the Lamar Odom of Europe, 18 years old, truly has point guard skills, but is a 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, skinny as hell. Plays to his own pace, a lot like Kyle Anderson with the Spurs right now, where it looks like he's playing with a slow pace, but really can see the floor, really can pass the ball, a lot like Lamar Odom.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, developed a three-point shot. And he's 18, so he can be stashed for a couple of years. He's playing in France. I'm sorry, he's playing in Germany's league right now.
Okay.
I think he's from France, but he's playing in the German league right now. So he's another sleeper that. So those are my sleepers. And I guess we was going to 3 big predictions for this draft that will be going on tonight. Any predictions that you think will definitely go down?
I think the one prediction we're going to see is we're going to see a trade in the top 5.
Okay.
I think we're seeing a trade in the top 5. If I would say another prediction, maybe I could jump here and say this will happen. DeAndre Antoine does not go number 1. I can see Phoenix deciding that they don't go that way.
Okay.
They go a different level. Getting the first round pick, they might go in a different level where they feel like they might pick someone else.
I think they'll go down shit just because the head coach gets brought in, coaches him with the Slovenian national team.
That's another thing.
Okay.
Also, big prediction. The Knicks don't pick a point guard. It's a big.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay.
What you got?
All right. Our first prediction is the Memphis Grizzlies trade the number 4 pick. Like I don't know to who or to where or for what, but I have the Memphis Grizzlies trade that 4th pick. So Memphis is the only team in the top 5 that expects to actually make the playoffs next year. So to them, it's like they're not looking for a player that's going to grow into. So to them, like a player like Mikal Bridges makes a lot more sense for them because he's from day one he can start and compete to help them win a championship. So for them, they might want a more seasoned player. They would make sense to trade back to get some player that can plug in right now, like a Miles Bridges out of Michigan, that from day one can help them win right now.
And then also they've been expressing that they want to trade. They're willing to give up Chandler Parsons for that.
So prediction number 2, I got Trae Young falling out of the top 10.
Ooh.
So I don't really think that might happen. I think somebody's going to get enamored like Orlando or Memphis and just quote unquote take the best player available.
I think definitely Orlando.
And it's like so
they got rid of Alfred Payton when he was just getting good, getting better.
You know he came out of college one of the most elite perimeter defenders.
You got
saying, he's not putting up the numbers. Like he would never. That's not his thing.
Then he's
a passer, and then they started the year off playing well as him as your starting point guard. Like he was over 500. Anyway, that's whatever. That's near. My number 1 prediction is the Knicks somehow trade up and take Mohamed Bamba.
If
the Harlem native is to come to the Knicks and pair up with Kristaps Porzingis, it'll be the second coming of the Twin Towers that we've seen in 2 different decades. We had Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon in the 80s that was deadly and dangerous. And then we had David Robinson and Tim Duncan in the late 90s and early 2000s. So I feel like if the Knicks are able to put together 2 of the best rim protectors of this era, in Mo Bamba and Kristaps Porzingis that can also shoot threes, the Knicks are winning championships. It's just how many.
If they do that, that'll be interesting because I remember how many times you've said how they've gone overseas with the Spurs, and then to have that Twin Towers situation. You've been saying that, so if they were to do that, that would be interesting.
Oh yeah,
and I think the Knicks will have to give you a call.
I'm for it. Like, bring me in. Like,
holla at me, coach.
You did.
Okay. Then I think.
But lastly, before I just want to bring more points to this NBA draft thing. Okay. So when people say the best player available, that does not make any sense
in any sport.
I just want to clear that up real quick.
In any sport,
there's no such thing as best player available. No. Now that makes sense for the general manager to say that for his team, because now each team would have a prospect that's best for them on the board, regardless of talent. Regardless of position. So, for instance, let's say with the Knicks, on their big board, they have tiers of talent. And on tier 1 is Colin Sexton, and they come to 9, and Colin Sexton's available. So that idea of best player available, for the GM of the Knicks, he can say, well, yeah, Colin Sexton was the best player that we had on our board at the 9th pick. Yes, he can say that. But now, the media and anybody outside of that general manager can't say the best player available is player A or the best player available is player B, because again, the player is only as good as the situation he goes to. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as talent is the best. Like James Harden is not as good as he is if he's playing with LeBron James. It just is what it is. Klay Thompson is not as good as he is if he's playing on a team where he's the 6th man. It just is what it is. Like that wouldn't. The talent is still what their talent is, but they're only as good as a player as the situation and the fit that they're in.
It's like
so the whole best player available. That doesn't make sense.
So it's like if OKC was up and Colin Sexton was there and they drafted Colin Sexton, that probably doesn't make the best sense for the fact that if you have a Westbrook.
Yeah, like what fit would it be? Like where would he play? Like he's only going to be backing up Westbrook. And if he's backing up Westbrook, does that maximize his potential? And that's not best fit.
The best player available.
But it's the best player available for the OKC Thunder. Does it maximize their ability to win? No, it doesn't. Because Westbrook is going to be playing 40 minutes. So for the other 4 positions on the court, does Colin Sexton make you better at those other 4 positions? No,
it makes you better as a 2 guard?
Nah, B. So he's not the best player available for the OKC Thunder. And he's not the best player available. Period.
Philly hasn't known for doing that. So.
Hell, Okafor. Then we're going to get Noel.
And then Embiid.
Then we're going to get Embiid. Yeah. And I get, Sam Hinkie was trying to stack talent. I hear that. Then y'all fired him before he got a chance to make a team out of it. Then Colangelo gets brought in because his father was put in charge of bringing in the next general manager. And then he has burner accounts and gets fired. And it's like, that team, and I heard this morning that they're contemplating trading Markelle Fultz to the Hawks for the 3rd pick. And it's like, what?
What was the point?
Like, I get because y'all just got rid of the GM that wanted Fultz. And Fultz had an injury-riddled first season. But
he showed great flashes.
With the trade Markelle Fultz for the 3rd pick in the draft, they said to possibly draft Trae Young.
All right, now that just makes no sense then.
I'm like, I'm not. I hope the article is just like, smoke and mirrors. Like,
man, maybe that's a joke. That got to be a joke. I'm not gonna believe it.
But that's
we can go to a little bit of more comical situation with the Lonzo Ball versus
Kyle Kuzma.
Kyle Kuzma. That's been going on since they've gotten drafted in the same team.
They're best friends.
Since they got drafted in the same team, Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo Ball have been going back and forth
on Twitter and
here, like you're whack, you're this. I think last was Kyle Kuzma said that they should trade Lonzo Ball for a bag of bricks, a bag of chips, or something like that.
So my man Leonard, whatever, like that would technically be my best friend in high school, right? And we would constantly poke at each other, like, you know what I mean? Like because back then you had AIM, so on my away message I might say some trash about him on my aim, and other people will comment about it. It'll be all in fun because they know that's my right hand, that's my dude. So I think, and then Kuzma's made it clear, like, Lonzo's my best friend. We've been best friends since summer camp when we first met up. Lonzo was like, my best friend in the league right now is Kyle Kuzma. So to me, all of this that we've seen is just basically these are children basically acting it out now publicly because everything is public.
I think it's awesome though. I think it's just.
I love it.
I love it. I just love the
rap track.
The rap track, and I actually listened to it. It was actually pretty funny. It was pretty dope.
It's a decent rap.
Yeah,
he's better than.
He insulted him and crazy, and it's funny because he insulted him mainly because Kyle Kuzma had like a picture that came out where he just got some workout tips from The Rock. So he just came like, oh, you ate this, you ate that, You excited with this? We balling out here, big baller unit. But I just and he's bragging up his team. I mean his unit. I just love it all. I just think the one thing I haven't seen no negativity about it, and that's what I kind of like.
Yeah.
Because if I saw negativity, I would have got really upset about it. And I just love it. Just enjoying that, like their teammates. I think it would have been more negativity if they weren't teammates. But the fact that they are and they do get along, I think it's dope. I actually like it. You actually really tune into that, listen to that track.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I actually started to watch the Ball Family podcast, not podcast, the show that they had, the reality show. I actually been watching that a little bit. It's like you don't really get a good gauge of who these people are until you get more of a look at their lives. See their lives. And it's like there's a lot going into them. Really, like they're really trying to bring dreams. Like these are literally these children's dreams, and they're working like there's a parents and the support system trying to bring these kids' dreams out, and we're looking at it from the media where it's like, oh, big-mouthed father. It's like, but if you see them as a family, it's like, yo, they're all supportive. You seeing the littlest one calling Lonzo at 2 a.m, and Lonzo's like, yo, go to sleep. Like, stop calling me. And it's like, yo, but I want to talk to my bro. And it's so, because it's real. Like, it's good to see, like Lonzo telling his little brother, like, yo, stop shooting so wild. Like, you got to play better.
And then they're making fun of him, like, "Oh, you can't even dunk yet. You're like 6'1", and he forced them to like get to that point there where he's trying to get better." It's like
the media has this negative imagery about the family, but if you watch the show, they're very connected units, and they're really propping each other up.
And the fact that their family is extended to like their son's teammates. Yeah. Their son's teammates are welcome to their home. Yeah. Where they're like another part of their family, that sub family. Where just like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you really speak so much negativity of this family? Yeah. But yet they do so much.
I think it's going to be one of those situations where maybe in 3 or 4 years, they're going to, not to say like, they're going to be on their dick. And it's going to be like...
Should have been it before.
Like, it'll be like, yo, where was this before? And it's like, I don't know why we didn't like you before, but the Ball family, because I think Lonzo going to win championships. Mm-hmm. So I think when Lonzo starts winning championships, he might have 1 or 2 of his brothers on the Lakers with him. All of a sudden now, LeBron's going to almost look like this, like almost like Serena and Venus father, like you finally now accepted, like
because now they leave him alone.
Yeah, like he wasn't crazy.
Once he wins, they leave you alone. That's exactly what it is. That's how it goes.
So facts of leaving you alone with the NFL, they don't seem to leave this particular individual alone. Mr. Terrell Owens.
T.O.
Recently, he's been in controversy because Julio Jones has contemplated a holdout for his contract. And he's been witness training with Terrell Owens. And it's maybe Terrell Owens is the holdout whisperer, is the term that the media is using. Mm. The holdout whisperer.
And I don't mind the media stating that. I honestly don't care. My only issue with it is the Atlanta Falcons organization not comfortable with Julio Jones working out with T.O.
And it's like wide receivers ever.
You got one of the greatest wide receivers in the league right now.
Probably the best.
And you pair him up with one of the greatest wide receivers back then. Yeah. This is the same person who had a broken leg and balled in the Super Bowl against the New England super defense Patriots. Yeah. And you don't. And this is the same person that played against the same Patriots team that couldn't get the win. Yeah. And he's learning from this player, and you don't see no positivity in it. All you see is a negativity in it. All right, barring all the situation with T.O. not wanting to show up to the ceremony, that's mixed emotions. I feel both ways in it. I feel why he wouldn't go, and I feel why it's a disappointment.
I see both sides. Yeah, I do.
I completely see why it's a disappointment.
I do lean to Terrell though, because as the person.
Only reason why, because you are the person.
Yeah, I lean to him also because we don't know what conversation he had with the Hall of Fame members.
We don't know
because we know last year. He had sat down, he had went to dinner with a few of those Hall of Fame members.
So we don't know what they said.
He was extremely disappointed that he wasn't selected. So he felt like they lied to him. And like I sat down with y'all, I came to y'all, I had dinner with y'all.
So they might have told something that he probably didn't get, and then now he feels it.
And then like now I didn't make it, and now this year all of a sudden now I made it. Now it's like for 2 years, and I did everything that y'all asked of me last year, and y'all didn't let me in. So now y'all let me in. You know what? I'd rather celebrate this on my own. It's like I was with y'all last year. And y'all didn't hold me down. Like, why would I now want to, after y'all turn it, like, virtually y'all smacked me in my face, stabbed me in my back, and now because y'all finally let me in, I got to now pretend like you never stabbed me in my back, like you never smacked me in my face. And again, this is something that I'm celebrating. Would you want to celebrate something with somebody that you perceive smacked you in your face or stabbed you in your back?
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you?
So that's why I only have, and also I agree with you in that situation because this has been known with a lot of players have had issues with the Hall of Fame committee because they felt that it should been like there's been a lot of protests where they say like they should have been changed. It's been a lot of older players or older people that are not really should not be determining on who goes to the Hall of Fame. There's been a lot of issues with it.
Correct.
So that's why I said I really can't get mad at Terrell, but I can also see why certain players might feel like because it's not necessarily 100% for you. It's 50% you, 50% for the players, people that brought you there, 50% for you to talk. But like you said, if you've felt a certain type of disrespect, and Terrell Owens has gotten a lot of disrespect while being in the NFL, like for being fined for pinning the football on the star, and the player tackling you, and you're getting fined because they're saying that you're causing a problem. I feel that's a little excessive because like you're doing a celebration. There's no rules against celebrations, but you get fined for it for pinning the star. Fine.
Yeah.
So when you get into a situation like that, that's why I see both sides of that. But that alone should not. And this is a player that's crying for his quarterback.
That's my quarterback.
And this guy who's been a passionate player. So this is a person who's training. He's not training your player on how to be a person. Mm-hmm. Julio Jones is like aging of 30 right now. I'm pretty sure he knows how to be a man in the NFL. He needs to know how to excel. He needs to know how to get that 4.3 speed or 4.4 speed that Terrell Owens still has at 44 years old. This is what he wants to try to get to. How to condition yourself at an age.
Quickly to talk about that, the fact that the video was posted the other day of Terrell Owens running a 4.43. I believe this man is 44 years old. There's certain draft wide receivers right now
that ran 4.48.
I believe there was only 2 wide receivers that actually ran faster than Terrell Owens in the combine this year.
And that was my boy DJ.
Like that's.
And I think it was Kirk.
Okay.
It might have been it. No, I think Kirk ran slow. So
maybe. Maybe Calvin Ridley was able to.
Maybe Calvin Ridley was something up. Maybe one of them. I think somebody ran 4.6.
But it was just like that's impressive.
So that right there, you don't get 4.4 speed just because you were fast. That's conditioning.
That's work.
That's eating right. So what is he probably learning from Julio? How can I still be that fast player at 30?
How do I lengthen out my physicality? Like how do I lengthen out my physical peak?
How did Terrell Owens' numbers didn't? It only dropped because of games played, not because of him on the field. While he was on the field, he was still that threat. How can I still become a threat at an aging age, especially at the wide receiver position? I mean, these are things that we're not even questioning. Like, I think we brought this up last time. They had the same question when Odell was training with Chris Carter. Yeah. Now, another person who's going to the Hall of Fame ballot is Randy Moss. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as numbers go, Terrell has some numbers majority higher than Randy Moss. Randy Moss is a first-time ballot going in. Yeah. And he learned from Chris Carter, who Randy Moss came in as a raw wide receiver talent. I think I brought up, and I said it before.
Super fast.
He reminded me of, like I said, DJ Chark in a sense, kind of remind me of where he's raw coming in, but if DJ Chark actually had a wide receiver going in, that or wide receiver coach that could teach him to be that supreme player, he might become a very superior player in his league. But I don't see that in Jacksonville. Yeah. But now it's just I just don't get it when these players are getting mentored by proven stars, and being from a New York, and you hear Chris Carter who pretty much helped Randy Moss. Mm-hmm. Why would you not want this for your star player?
But then they'll say like, well, he needs to be with his team. It's like, well,
really?
Well, who at this voluntary OTAs, can give Odell Beckham the same level of training as Chris Carter?
And then I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna throw this little side note, right? Aaron Rodgers is considered one of the best players in the league, right? Best quarterbacks.
Yes.
Every year, Green Bay Packers give a certain amount of players time away from the team. Mm. Aaron Rodgers has made that list every year, has been a starter. Mm. He's the best player, right? He's not with his team, though. Mm. This whole thing, they gave us 16 players. Randall Cobb, and 16 players. I'm not sure, but I know it's Randall Cobb, Aaron Rodgers, and etc. Every year, they do this every year. They give a certain amount of players more time away from their teams. They don't have to come to OTAs. They don't have to come to minicamp. They just got to come to show up to training camp. But you just request that they don't leave Green Bay. So these players are allowed to stay away from the team. But yet Aaron Rodgers is top 3, top 2, depending where you want to put him, depending on who you are. I don't think anybody who watches football doesn't put him below 5. Yeah. I'll give him that much. Yeah. But yet, he's away from the team. But yet now, and this is the quarterback. This is the person that has to get accumulated with your offensive line, your running back, and your wide receivers, as well as tight ends, etc., and your offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. But now a wide receiver away from the team is not good. I'll just leave it at that.
But I wouldn't say diva wide receivers. And it's like, yo, that's a horrible label. It's like, because the quarterbacks celebrate just as much if they were scoring as much. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't.
It's not even diva.
And I think it's an old entertaining narrative that they just like to recycle. It's a recycled narrative, and it's like, do better. Like, what makes him a diva? Like,
they just call it a diva because they just told it off for certain players. Like, you know, when Randy Moss decides not to go for the ball because he has a problem with the situations on T.O., having situations off the field issues and stuff like that. That's how they bring it as a diva. And I disagree
with a lot of the T.O. things that they said T.O. was wrong on. Like, for instance, if I feel like I'm the best wide receiver in the league, and I feel like I'm severely underpaid, and then my teammates talk about my contract situation in the media, like, why? Like, if that's anybody else besides a wide receiver. So let's say if a defensive end is going through a contract problem, and then the running back talks about it, like, they'll be like, the running back needs to stay in his place. Like, why would he even, talk about?
That's not your position.
You know what I'm
saying?
That's
my teammate. That's what I'm saying. And I know how much he balls. So he plays them in practice.
So then with Terrell Owens, when he felt like he deserved more money, he was holding out at camp. I just didn't understand how Donovan McNabb and some of these other ones are like, yo, he should be in camp anyway. Like, yo, how are you talking about this man's money?
And that almost goes back to the Kawhi Leonard.
Correct. So then when Terrell now was like, yo, when he started doing his sit-ups in his driveway, like, I'm not trying to talk about this. Like, that was his whole thing. I don't want to talk about it. Like, I know I want my money, and that's why I'm not here. Showing up there at my house with these cameras.
I didn't welcome you here.
I'm just doing what I got to do. Like,
but then he looks like the bad guy because he's doing sit-ups. So but that's workout, right?
I'm saying, like, that particular moment where, like, the media made it seem like Terrell was being a diva. Terrell was making this huge distraction for the Eagles, and Terrell needed to be traded now from the Eagles. He was making this a whole thing about him. Like, I don't think Terrell made that. Like, I thought the media made that.
Yeah, sure, to his house.
I think the teammates, like, everybody but Terrell. Like, for instance, Terrell, like, didn't come to camp. He didn't make it a thing. He just didn't come in. So now at camp, they asking his teammates, like, Donovan, why, Terrell not here. Now you're now commenting, like, well, he feels like he should be paid more, but I think he should be here. Like, why is that? You're the quarterback. Why are you saying this? Like, you're not even trying to hold him down.
Yeah.
And now you think now he gonna come in here, and it was like, so then Terrell,
he gave you the best years.
He separated the locker room where it was the people that supported Donovan, the people that supported Terrell. Of course that's gonna happen now. You're supposed to be the leader of the team, and he's technically the best player on offense. They're supposed to be on the same page. Of course, it's going to be different fractions. So if Donovan was the leader he was supposed to be, he would have been like, I already spoke to Terrell. We've had a conversation. I know what's going on. We're on the same page. We love Terrell. Whenever he can make it in, he can make it in. It's a business thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how like a Tom Brady would have handled that. That's how a Peyton Manning would have handled that. And I'm not trying to knock Donovan, but it's a reason why he has no Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great player, but not the best leader. And we see the shortcomings in that. And back to the whole Terrell, I'm just making the point of, is like, the media creates this whole, like, oh, well, he was wrong for this.
Mm-hmm.
And they've now labeled it like that's another incident in which he was wrong, in which he obliterated another team that would have been better if Terrell didn't create that fraction in the locker room. Like, we're going to skip the path that Donovan's responsibility in that, or even the head coaches and Andy Reid's responsibility of trying to control the media narrative on one of your star players.
Yeah, and I think this is a thing where, as far as the diva thing goes, right?
Yeah.
As far as football goes, I think the wide receiver and defensive back position is the most closely associated to basketball.
Yeah.
Because that's the most one-on-one competition where you're both standing upright and it's about a physical, like, who can beat the next one. That's the most.
It's more direct.
It's one of the most contact, because offensive line, defensive line, no one really pays attention to it.
There's no ball coming in.
But right there, you know that it's trash talking off rip.
We seen Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson getting to beef.
AJ Green.
We see AJ Green and Jimmy Ramsey getting to beef. But yet we see Josh Norman and Odell Beckham. But then when we hear all this stuff, what do we always hear? Why did that offensive player go ham? We never hear nothing about why did the defensive player keep jamming him on the line? Why did he keep holding him past 5 yards? Why you don't hear none of that? We don't hear none of this. Oh, the guy's probably talking in his face the whole time, and then now you're beating him. And now this is where you become. This is what they call you, the diva. Now the guy's jamming you, blah blah. You beat him off the line. The quarterback is looking that way.
Yeah.
Now you're just tight because like he's been smack talking me. I just want to eat this boy, and I know I can eat him.
Yeah.
So now the game of the sport just gets into you. Now it's like you're coming at your quarterback, not really like you see like sometimes.
And then
sometimes I yell
an interception.
Yes.
And you was wide open.
Yes.
And you beat that.
Now we get you tight. Now you like sometimes I yell here talking passionately because you just it's not like I'm yelling or like something we go back and forth. I might be. It's not like I'm barking at K and we leave here like bump out of here, nigga. See you next week. No, it's just almost like it's almost like we're passionate about what we're talking about, so it just it comes a little bit with emotion. So then now it's like, okay, football is a game of emotions, but yet now when they show emotions, you criticize them. What?
They don't to like every player,
but not to every player.
They really selective about.
Tom Brady goes to the court, comes off the field, and barks at his offensive coordinator or Josh McDaniels or this is that or blah blah blah.
It's passion.
Passion. Depends on the player.
Disruption.
It's just saying. That's what I'm saying. So it's like certain players get the short end of the stick.
You know, I'm just not gonna buy it like no more. I'm just not gonna buy these same media markets.
Can't make sense.
Pushing these like narratives like that. That I ain't gonna front like it seems like it's a different agenda there. Now I'm old enough to be able to know like y'all have a choice of what y'all put out there. It feels like there's an agenda. I'm not gonna like label it that card. I think people are just too easy to label it that card. But I'm gonna just say it like yo. Y'all could do better. Yeah, y'all could do better.
Definitely could. I think it's too much of a narrative. Like I think right now, if it was a certain player that decided not to do it and it wasn't T.O., it would not be of this big of an issue.
Not
as far as the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame thing is like, who can't understand where Terrell's coming from? And the same people that are out there criticizing him, y'all the same people that created that narrative, that negative cloud around him.
This may be the reason. Yeah, mainly the reason probably why he's
like
doing
you're just inflaming the same thing over and over.
They just want to hear his story.
But I would say
Terrell's
one of my favorite black players. Period. One of my favorite people to even hear it talk. Like,
you know why? Because I got real inside NFL from him.
He's authentic. Like the people that criticize him to me are fake. And it's like you're criticizing the authenticity of the rawness and the realness that he brings to the table.
And that's what he does.
But I mean, that's the Terrell situation. But quickly, I mean, you got training camps coming up soon. I mean, basically for the Giants, training camp starts July 25th. The preseason opener is August 9th. You'll basically be looking at the new offensive line that they got put together there with left tackle Nate Soldier.
Mm-hmm. A little situation there.
Will Hernandez, the new guard that they drafted.
I've been talking about that kid. I was like, if somebody gets him, they're gonna get a real solid.
You gotta say Quan
but he's a fighter too. He's been fighting with everybody.
You got to beef with me, Snacks.
I think they fell on Soldier's leg, but I heard he's been all right.
Okay.
Yeah, they said it was just like a little thing.
Snacks and Hernandez is getting popping, which I like to hear.
Love to hear a guard.
Yeah, but like my lineman, like, and I love the fact that Snacks has been eager to touch Barkley. He says like this kid looks too good, I wouldn't hit him. So it's like I like what I'm hearing from Giants camp. Like
Barkley saying that I don't want no parts.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when we get more into when training camp starts. We'll do a football preview, but quickly talk a little bit about Colts training camp coming soon.
Oh yeah, Colts training camp coming soon. I think it's at the end of July. I think July 25th as well.
Okay.
We get to see the Andrew Luck. We get to see some of Lee Hooker, who should be returning from injuries. Marlon Mack. But see how the defense shapes up. To see the biggest concern right now is our second round pick, Darius Leonard. He hasn't practiced at all completely. So that was my guy I've been shooting for all off season, all before, and they got him. But we'll see what happens. If that happens, shape up to see how that defense looks out. And this is a brand new. It's a old new team that it looks like for the Colts to me this year, and we'll just see how it works out.
Should be dope. So quickly go into defend your squad. Quickly switch it up a little bit. me being the New York fan that I am, I'm going to have to defend my New York Mets. New York Mets are having a very tough season.
Started really good.
After starting out 11-1 with the best record in the Major League Baseball, the Mets have completely struggled and have not been able to find wins. The main culprit is the bullpen. We have actually the best starting rotation ERA in the league, but our bullpen has given up every conceivable lead that we've gotten this year. It's been basically a hole in our roster. You know what I mean? And then we've had injuries like we had usually. Yoenis Cespedes, our best player, has been hurt. Jay Bruce just got put on the DL. I'm starting to actually question the general manager Sandy Alderson now. Like, I really do like him. He put together the championship athletic teams in the late 80s. He's brought in a lot of good talent. I wanted Yoenis Cespedes so badly, and he traded for him on trade deadline a couple of years ago. Then he re-signed him. So I liked a lot of the moves, but the one move that I have not really liked, and it's because of, again, personal feelings. I hardly let my feelings get involved when I talk sports, but this is what I'll readily admit. This is my feelings getting well in front of the actual thing I'm about to say. The trading of Matt Harvey. I have not been able to watch a full Met game after that trade because of how I feel about the organization after that trade. For me, Matt Harvey represents the Mets for me right now. The fact that we were relevant again. I remember when he got drafted. I remember watching that draft when I almost never watch Major League Baseball drafts. I remember thinking, like, oh, he's going to be a star. Like, he went to North Carolina. I love Michael Jordan, so I feel like anybody that goes to North Carolina has a chance to be a star. And it's baseball. Like, it's a whole other sport. But he went to UNC. He went to North Carolina. I'm like, this kid's going to be a star. I seen him come through the ranks. I watched him develop. And then he became a superstar with us. Became the Dark Knight. Started the World Series for us. So he came full circle. Fully developed on us. Had Tommy John surgery, came back and started in the All-Star game for us. So he had another injury last year. This year he looked like he was finally coming back, but the injury he had the theatric outlet surgery. They said it could take up to 18 months for a person to regain the feeling in their hands after having that surgery. He's a pitcher. The feeling in his hand is exactly what he needs. Like, that's the very thing that he has to have. And what does he struggle with all year? His control. Wouldn't that make sense of something he was struggling with? And he's still struggling right now after the trade. And it's like, it's probably going to take him all year to refine his control. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that we traded him after 5 or 6 starts this year, when we were at the time like 13-4, we trade him away. And we've had problems with the bullpen, which a guy that's struggling to find his control, that was a starter, would have made the most sense to put him in the bullpen. Okay, so Harvey didn't want to go in the bullpen right away. So you couldn't have waited it out like, oh, give you 5 more starts and you continue to struggle, you're going to the bullpen. That would have worked with it. They traded him away because of the media tabloids saying that he's partying, but yet he's sucking on the field. Well, of course he's going to suck on the field. Like, the injury he had, he's going to take him, if he ever finds it, to get back. But the fact that this is the kid that you drafted, became a star here, helped get you to the World Series. You trying to tell me you couldn't give him a year of time to see where this goes? Or even possibly be a bullpen player? That trade I just can't get behind. And then who we got back, I get the player that we got back has potential. But this guy doesn't have the ceiling or the potential that Harvey has. And it just, what Harvey meant to the city, what he meant to this team, what he meant to even the pitchers that came under him, DeGrom and Syndergaard. This was their mentor. He mentored them into the league. So to see him get discarded and traded this way, I just didn't think this was good for this team. And Mickey Callaway was brought in. One of the main points was he would revitalize Matt Harvey. He was a pitching whisperer. You know what? He failed at this. The one thing he was brought in for, he failed at.
He had one job.
The main selling point for him is what he failed at. And I'm not knocking him at all. It's too early in his tenure as a manager to say like he's a bust or he's not working out. None of that. But now the fact that we started off so well, and now we can't seem to find ourselves, that's a complete indication that your manager can't right the ship. Like the Yankees were struggling earlier this year. They are now the best record in baseball. They have too much talent to lose, but that still requires righting the ship. Kudos to Aaron Boone. But I feel like this is a failed season for the Mets right now. Like, I don't see this coming out being well. They might need to trade either Syndergaard or DeGrom or both and start to rebuild. I don't believe in rebuilding in baseball. I feel like you're always, like, when you have this much talent on your roster, you're one or two tweaks away from being a team again. Like, unless you're bad enough to lose 100 games, then you have a lot of moves to make. Then you need to think about rebuilding. But when you have a team that can win 80 games just off of talent, to get you to that 90 game and that championship contender, it's one or two moves to tweak. So the Mets are probably one or two moves away from being just as much as a championship contender as they was coming into the season, the way I thought, the way they started the year off.
Mm-hmm.
But injuries have sidelined them. Rookie managers slowed it up. And the trading of the more senior pitcher on that damn staff has not helped at all. So, I mean, for me, my defensive squad is like, as a Met fan, I'm not giving up. I still feel like, there's a lot of bright spots to look at this season. Rosario is still having a very good young season. Don Smith has came up. He almost hit for the cycle yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good things to look for. DeGrom is one of the most dominant pitchers in the league right now. He could even win a Cy Young this year. So there's a lot of things to still look for. Noah Syndergaard to watch and enjoy with the Mets. They can still make a run. The same way they won like the first 10 out of the first 11 games. The same team could win maybe 13 in a row, 12 in a row, and get right back in the picture. But this is a failed season.
Yeah.
And this is me defending my squad, the New York Mets 2018 season.
That's a fact. It's been an interesting up and down season that's been going on for the last few years.
Yep. Since making the World Series, it's been tough for us to find ourselves.
To come right back. That's excellent. Defending squad, that's very true. Defending squad will be just very, very short. Screw the media. I'll say that to say that because Andrew Luck has been the focal point of the Colts are nothing without him. They can't make it anywhere. This or that. And then now there's been reported of Andrew Luck throwing the football.
Yeah.
Can the Colts make the playoffs this year now? And did I just say how I started this? Screw the media.
Yeah.
One player does not make your team.
Should not.
Never will, never have. Chuck Pagano came out and said that.
Well, he technically paid. He was a one-man show.
But it was not necessarily a one-man show. If you look at the stats, their defense was a top 15 defense throughout his time of him being great.
They had that elite front four.
They had a great, yeah. They had that front four that created that pressure on the quarterback. They were top in scoring, top on pass defense, and Robert Mathis.
They were definitely legit.
They were solid players. Cato June, that was a really solid linebacker outside. Bob Sanders when he was healthy. Mike Doss. As far as it goes with the media, is just when they state that the Colts were ranked 32nd coming in as a power rank as this team coming in because Andrew Luck is not playing, but now they're up there where they could be a playoff potential. I say, how does one player make you this person? It doesn't make sense. It's all about it's team football.
Yeah, it's what Belichick preaches, but the rest of the world doesn't seem to catch.
Doesn't see
he's just that smarter than everybody else.
Yeah,
he's telling you the game.
Like we seen it in the likes of Oakland Raiders. This was a team that was a Super Bowl, right, and they came from dropping out the playoffs with the same players on their roster. Yes, Derek Carr was slightly injured, but these are the same players on your roster that can still create and win for you. Right. So. What was it? It's a team sport. So when we look at this Andrew Luck, is he throwing a football? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? No, it's the whole foundation. Chuck Pagano stated that he gave him extra few years that he probably didn't deserve. Right. That just shows you the coach didn't even know what to do. He didn't know how to control that team completely. And even so, in his first few years, 3 years, the Colts had a top 15 defense. This is when they were a playoff team because the defense was still the aging defense from the last years of Peyton Manning's era. And as they got older, they were never refreshed with a new set of defensive players to take over that home. There was no one to take place Robert Mathis. There was no one to take place Dwight Freeney. Dwight Freeney was one side, next side. No one came in after to replace Dwight Freeney. No one came after to replace Mathis. No one came after to replace Bob Sanders. These are the players that I never focused on and wondered why your team failed. So, like we keep preaching, we've been preaching, I think, ever since we started this. Defense wins championships. So, when I look at this season, I think we could be a playoff team, yes, with the Colts. With Andrew Luck, yeah, sure, why not? But are we that much better? Only time will tell. This is a whole completely defense, a whole system, a whole new team, a young team. We still don't know. Last year, we could have been a playoff team. Why? Majority of games lost were by a touchdown or less. Majority of games that we lost, we were leading going into the fourth quarter. Easily, the Chargers that we will see as a team for the last 3 years have been a team that have lost majority of the games by last seconds. These are little things that make you a championship team. What is that? The head coach. Right. On how you play your team on 4 quarters. It's 60 minutes, not 48.
Yeah. Belichick gets that.
That's it.
He gets that.
Very few coaches understand that. Thanks. And that's my defend your squad. Fuck the media.
That was beautiful. I second fuck the media. I just feel like they're just way too lazy about it. It's like walking into a store and like it's not swept.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just like, yo, I couldn't even sweep the floor. No. And that's the way I have the media. It's like I have a very good store, but I just won't sweep it. Like just look
at
clean it up.
Look at everything. Do a little dusting. Like you see that lamp up top, dust that too.
And I'm just confused. I'm just confused with why does it keep happening now? Oh. Well. News of Jameis Winston possibly being suspended 3 games for groping a Uber driver.
And I actually heard of this story where I heard Jameis Winston was not even in that. She claims that Jameis Winston was sitting next to her.
Yeah.
And then they have other claims that he was sitting in the back seat.
Yeah.
So this whole story is going to be a little interesting as it goes on.
I do remember this came out a while ago where it's like you might have been in the front, but then you might have been in the back.
So now it's like this. Stories. So now this is a.
I mean, Goodell's definitely gonna have to go talk.
And this goes into what I mentioned. I think during the draft, I thought the Buccaneers should have picked up a quarterback. And well, here goes your man, Fitzmagic.
I see
Fitzmagic is the next guy up.
I see Fitzmagic start another football game. Like. I'm definitely gonna call Kaepernick and be like, "Yo, you want me to ride with you though?"
Yo, what's up, man?
Like,
we got to roll.
What up? Like, what up? Like, what's going on? Like, how you feeling? Like, I called Mike Vick up right after that. Like, yo, I know how this life is. Like, you want me to ride with you though? Then I'm gonna call Vince Young up. Like, yo, I know they didn't really give you your term, man. You want me to ride with you?
Hey, Mike Vick might be good. I think he's a quarterback's coach for the Chiefs. So he's all right over there.
That's Andy Reid.
Yeah, Andy Reid.
His man. Yeah.
Remember, Andy Reid was ever since he got McNabb, he knew what the time was.
So now we get into
soccer.
We get into the World Cup.
FIFA.
We'll kick the 7 real quick here, where we surf around the 7 continents to bring to you world football.
It's been a pretty interesting, to say the least, World Cup.
Oh yeah.
As far as like certain legs and stuff, Russia, I tell you that much, we're put in the best position.
Facts. So I quickly just set the table for everybody that's trying to get an understanding of what's going on in the World Cup. Quickly run through all the teams involved. We got Group A. We got Russia, Uruguay, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. That's Group A. And
right now we have Russia and Uruguay, I think, now advancing to the next round. And the last 2 teams have just been eliminated.
Excellent. Then we got Group B. We got Spain, Portugal, Iran, and Morocco.
Portugal, Spain, and I think Morocco are pretty much at a neck and neck. I think Spain and Portugal are at 4 points. Okay. I think Morocco's at 3. So Portugal had an amazing game with Ronaldo scoring a hat trick in the first game and then winning the last game with one goal.
Yes.
And Spain having that controversy where their head coach was fired prior to
extremely sus.
For accepting a job for Real Madrid prior to.
I'm about to do this afterwards. So I didn't think that get real petty over that.
Well, I guess
you're not trying to win.
Rules is rules, man. But you should have, I guess. But then again, rules is rules. But there's always snitches in the world because I'm pretty sure they knew the rules and someone snitched it out.
It's a source.
But still, there's a player from there, from Spain, who's really solid. I actually had Spain probably winning this.
Spain has a few. You got Sergio Ramos.
It's
you
another.
got Terrell Peak.
I think his name is
Diego Costa.
There he goes. That guy is a beast.
Okay.
He scored all goals, I think, for this team pretty much so far. Well, okay. I think at least 3 of them.
Jeez. Okay.
Okay. He's really solid.
So moving to Group C, we got France, Denmark, Australia, and Peru.
France has probably one of the
dominant teams.
Not to say dominant, but they have one of the most
talented.
Like the most highly talked about, like most notable players in their team, okay. As far as Mbappe, Guzman,
okay.
Giroud, Mbappe, Dembele. Like they have a solid squad, but they still Pogba.
Yeah,
Pogba.
Okay.
They have a solid of players, but it's just a lot of young, and I just want to see if they can play together.
I'm just looking for Keelan, you know what I'm saying? I've been talking about him now. One of the 23. I'm glad he scored the goal for France yesterday. I believe he's more than a win.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to that. So in this group, France was one of the heavy favorites.
Yes.
In the group B, Spain was a heavy favorite.
Yes.
So moving on to Group D.
What else was it? It was France.
France, Denmark, Australia, and Peru.
Oh, and Denmark has been playing really solid. I think Denmark is also advancing. I think they won their second game against. They just played somebody. I just can't remember, but they played somebody. And Peru.
Yes.
Also, they played very well. A lot of opportunities, and this is their first World Cup since I think 1950s or 60s or something like that. So it's amazing for them too. Just to be back there from like years ago.
Solid. Okay. Running to Group D. We got Croatia. We got Argentina, Iceland, and Nigeria. Argentina was a heavy favorite out of this group, too.
And they just lost to Croatia today,
yes.
And Croatia just moved on to the next round. They've been playing very well.
Correct.
Iceland and I think Iceland was their first year here, too, and also in a long time.
Okay.
As well as Nigeria. That's just pretty
so
dope.
Argentina did lose earlier today. They have the big star on their team, Lionel Messi. One of the biggest stars in the entire football world. Mm-hmm. So they were heavy favorite, but they lost, and it was an ugly loss earlier today. Moving into Group E, we got Serbia, Brazil, Switzerland, and Costa Rica.
Yes, Costa Rica is not looking so good. You said Serbia.
Yes,
they've been playing pretty solid as well.
Brazil was a heavy favorite coming into this World Cup.
There's a kid in there named William. I think he's not really a kid. He's like 20 years old. But he reminds me of like a he's like a Dembele.
Okay.
I guess he's like that, but he's very solid player. But I think what Brazil need is a healthy Neymar. He said he will be playing Friday,
okay,
but he's still rehabbing, so that will be issue. Okay. But they're gonna need a win.
Well, Brazil is a heavy favorite, but part of that is because Neymar being one of the biggest soccer stars,
and they're gonna want redemption from the last World Cup losing 7-1 to Germany. So
speaking of Germany, Germany will be in our next group here. That'll be Group F.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Germany is one team. You got Sweden. You have Mexico and South Korea. Mexico being one of the more heavily favored teams in this entire tournament. But Germany has played very well out the chute.
Yes. But Mexico beating Germany on the first game, that was an amazing win for them. Watch out for Chicharito, Little P. Chicharito,
okay.
Little P. What's the name, man? There's a couple other players there for Mexico that's a solid.
Okay.
Germany, I think they will have. I think Mueller. I don't know if he's still there, but
Manuel Neuer?
Yeah.
Goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
He's pretty solid. He's a solid goalkeeper. Like, just him giving up a goal is very rare.
Yeah, he actually made my list of his top players. It's
so then,
only goalkeeper.
There's a couple of good ones there, too.
Oh, yeah.
But, Germany, I see them winning their next couple of matches. I don't see them not finishing out. I think, especially with South Korea, I don't see them coming out this round at all.
A little shocked to see them here.
No, I don't know. Between them and Japan, I think be shocking.
I'm a little upset that USA was unable to make it over South Korea, but we'll get further into that. So we got Group G. We got Belgium, England, Tunisia, and Panama.
I think that's probably one of the.
Belgium being the heavy favorite out of this group.
I think that's probably one of the greater groups because there's a lot of talented players on that team.
I know England has some good players.
England just has a lot of young players, but they'd probably be one of the fakes that's come out. Probably one of the fakes out of that.
Because I'm well aware of Harry Kane out of England.
Yes, Harry Kane. Yes. There's Rashford. There's I forgot his other kid's name, but there's a lot of solid young players there. Belgium. They have a player, Lukaku. I think he had a really good game. His first game, he scored 2 goals. Funny thing about him, he scored in his last 10 World Cups. He scored in his last 10 World Cups played. He scored in his last 9.
Okay.
So he's been solid there. Unfortunately, it's something about this player that during regular games, he's not that good for some reason. I don't know why he doesn't live up to his level.
Those playoff guys.
Yeah, something like that.
I need the stage to be big to step up.
But not even. It's like sometimes I don't know. He's just he has his moments. Yes.
Okay.
It's like he's known to play well against less competitive teams.
Oh God.
So that's what you got to watch out for as Belgium.
Yeah.
So that's why I still have England topping over.
Okay, cool. And then we got Group H. Final group here. We got Japan, Senegal, Poland, and Colombia.
Group H. Oh, what is that? Senegal. Oh, Senegal had a great win against Poland, and Poland has one of the best goalkeepers out of Bundesliga, named Robert Lewandowski.
Okay.
He's been the best person out of that Bundesliga, and Senegal winning a 2-1 victory over them. That was very amazing. Mm-hmm. Quickly, just for Tunsil, the last group that you were speaking about, Tunisia.
Group G. Yeah.
Yeah. Their goalkeeper went out. In the first 3 minutes, and their backup goalkeeper, I think deserves an honorable mention for just having an amazing game, just coming in 3 minutes in, and just having and playing and not giving up a goal. The first goalkeeper gave up the first goal. Yeah. He came in and gave up 0. So that was just amazing. I just want to put that out there. If I find his name, I'll probably look his name and get his name.
That's Group H with Senegal. It's maybe the favorites there with Poland also having a very good team.
Which one was Panama?
Panama will be Group G.
Oh, sorry. Panama, this is their first World Cup in history.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what was put out there. Okay. First ever. And they're the one that knocked off U.S.
I don't know how to feel like that. I wanted to give them congratulations.
I had to stop you at the wild, so they knocked them off right after.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have actually given them congratulations.
They're still searching their first goal, so let's put it out there.
This should wait too long. How dare they take us out?
That wild went to mother.
I don't even know if I want to go to that country now. It's them that stopped us. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. Quickly, I'll give you the 15 players to look at in this tournament.
You got it. Oh, you got everybody. Yeah, you said all this. Yeah, cool.
So the top players in this tournament, I'll run through a quick 15. There's also a bunch of other stars. These are just some names that I put together that I noticed to give you quite a who to look for, who to look at, who has a name in there. So starting off number 15, I got Harry Kane out of England. He's a forward. Then we got Manuel Neuer. He's a goalkeeper out of Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Neymar.
You said what's his name?
Manuel Neuer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Goalkeeper out of Germany. He seems to be one of the best goalkeepers in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Neymar, one of the biggest stars in the entire soccer world. He's out of Brazil. He's a forward. Then we got Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably the best scoring player in the entire world as far as soccer is concerned. He's also a forward, but he plays for Portugal. Then we have Lionel Messi. He might be out of this tournament now, but he's also one of the best goal scorers in the entire soccer world. He's a forward out of Argentina. Then we have Daniel Arzenia. He's a midfielder out of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Ousmane Dembele,
a
forward out of France. Now you have a Sourdarn Isman. He's a forward out of Iran. I might have said his name wrong, but he seems to be an up-and-coming superstar out of Iran.
He had 20 offers for his game.
Correct. And then we got my man Kylian Mbappe. He's a forward out of France, 19 years old. I have him as the next soccer superstar, international superstar.
Mm-hmm.
In the lines of Neymar, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Messi. He's in the next line, I feel, of that. Then we have Paulo Guerrero. He's a forward out of Peru.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to hold a huge name in the soccer world. Next we got Paul Pogba. He's a midfielder out of France. Seems to have a huge following.
He has a huge leg. Like I pause on that. I guess it is, but like he has so much power from when he kicks the ball. It's just amazing.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably why he has such a name.
Yeah.
Now we got Sergio Ramos. Only a couple of Spain guys here. Sergio Ramos, a defender. He's well known around the world as being one of the best defenders in the world. He's out of Spain. Terrell Peak. He looks to be a defender out of Spain also. We have Diego Costa, another forward out of Spain. So those are 3 players out of Spain that you can look for. They're well-talented players. And then lastly, we have one of the most infamous footballers across the world, Luis Suarez. He plays with Uruguay, and he's been well known to get into things.
Next.
So he might make a couple plays that end up being on the highlight reel this year. For good reasons or bad reasons.
The player that I was mentioning was Farouk Ben Mustafa.
Okay.
That was the one that replaced him.
So I definitely have a little bit more respect for the media here because these names are very tough.
It's very tough to pronounce, but there's been a lot of solid players. There's been a lot of great games that we've seen in World Cup, and it's more to come.
Correct. With the MLS, continuing to sell out, with ESPN bringing a lot of the MLS games, and also Fox Sports. I think in the next few years, we're going to continue. Shout out to the New York.
There's been a lot of players. I've seen a lot of European players have been coming into the MLS now and sort of switch over. And stuff.
Shout out to New York FC. I definitely do fuck that squad. You know what I mean? I followed them on Twitter. So, shout out to them. Shout out to New York Red Bulls. They've been very competitive. Shout out to the Seattle team. They do very well. So, yeah, the MLS, definitely, we're going to try to catch on to that. But we got the World Cup is really going off. I'm rolling for France. I got France winning it because my USFA is not in it.
Go with Sacre Bleu.
Shout out to Frank Ntilikina on that note.
I still think you go with the defending champs of Germany, even though they did lose to Mexico. But I still do like Spain.
Okay. So those are all picks. I'm definitely saying, France is my first one, but I'm gonna throw out Mexico just because
they did take out
they're building walls, so I think they can actually win this. They can win this all. So I'm throwing Mexico or France as my 2 picks to win it all.
Sounds good. I like it. Especially that way you ended it. Okay.
So quickly we'll run into alternative views.
I think we're going to mine. Oh, we good. We're going to mine. My alternative view is power ranking for the NFL. Okay. I will be for the next 3 weeks, I guess, 4 weeks. I'll run down my bottom 8 and work my way up to the top 8.
Okay.
32 teams. I figure 8. So I'll do it like that.
Sweet. Okay.
The reason I did this power ranking is because I've been having a problem with how these media decides on how they determine the power ranks. They switch it every week.
Yeah.
They switch it every moment. I think once you see what the team is about and you start seeing training camp, you should be able to understand okay, this is where the team stands. Mm-hmm. You look at their schedule, and you should probably determine okay, this is pretty much what he's doing. Some may overexceed, some may underexceed, but it shouldn't be so far off. Right. And the reason why I had this problem because the Eagles were 20th or 21st last year.
Okay, and they should never have been there.
That top defense that they had, and how they came in with Carson Wentz that played coming in last year.
At least been in the top 13.
Something around there, but they had them at 21st, 25th, something like that going into regular season, not even into the preseason. To regular season, that's what they had them. So that's my
question was only whether Carson Wentz is healthy.
Yes,
the talent was already there.
The fact that he was up there, I just had a problem. So I just go in to my ranking. I'm gonna start with number 32. Number 32 is going to be the Miami Dolphins. And the reason why I bring the Miami Dolphins is I'll bring it back to when you speak about NBA.
Okay.
You don't get the best talent that's out there. You get the talent that you need for your team.
Best fit and talent.
Best fit and talent for your team. Picking Mika Fitzpatrick first overall when you have problems at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and last year you picked the corner. I don't think you go back at defensive back as your first round pick. I think you go with something that can help you right now. And knowing, it's not like you lost Landry after the draft. You knew he was gone.
Yeah. Like you traded.
And then you knew that your player as Tannehill does not go well at throwing the ball down the field. He's been very comfortable with a person of Landry. So,
That's right. He's more Pennington.
I'm not going to be a judge here, but, Christian Kirk I think would have been better for you. I'm just saying. Or going in that direction. So that's my problem with the Miami Dolphins. 32nd, I'm going to stay in the same division, is the Buffalo Bills. Being that the fact of, it's Buffalo.
That's right.
Shady McCoy is in his 30s. This is about the time I think we spoke about this. This is when you start to decrease as a running back. Because there's only so much you can do. Brand new quarterback situation, drafting a quarterback after getting a quarterback, relieving your quarterback after getting I don't know how many I don't know who's doing more worse than them or the Jets. Defensively, they're gonna be good. They always will be good, but I think with that division and that offense, no real wide receiver situation. Zay Jones, I think they said that he has to fight his way back into the team. This is your top draft pick from years ago, and you still don't know what to do with him. And then I think when you have a young quarterback and you don't address the tight end position, I think that's just a big mistake. Best friend for a young quarterback is a tight end.
Facts. A running game on tight end.
He needs a security blanket. Where did I have them? Where was they? Oh, okay. I know it was there. Okay. Coming 30th, I'm gonna have the Cincinnati Bengals. The reason why the Cincinnati Bengals is because they still haven't fixed that offensive line yet. And I still don't like Andy Dalton. And also, I'm a big supporter of hating Marvin Lewis.
Yes.
0 wins in the playoffs.
My man's
still here. They re-signed him to a new contract. And this is the only thing I think that just why it will be interesting. I think I like running back. Running back that they got out there from last year that no one liked him because of his controversy, but he's a really solid player. See, I knew you were going to get his name somewhere. But he has Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
Mixon has Mixon problem with fumbling issues, and I think that's going to be a problem going in there. And between Mixon and Giovanni Bernard, who has been your Swiss Army knife, who's now going older age, it's going to be an interesting situation. AJ Green, older age, you're going to need someone else. And then now with the tight end situation, you're bringing in Tyler Eifert again to hopefully he still hasn't reported after being injured again. I still that offense is going to be a problem. And also losing defensive coordinator that you've had for the last 8-10 years to the Oakland Raiders is going to be an issue with that defense. That's why I have them at that low rank. Then we have 29th. Who do we have here? Who did I have at 20? Oh, the Cleveland Browns. I know there's a lot of upside.
Shout out to Baker Mayfield. He shut down Colin Cowherd. Colin was he pointed out a clip earlier of Baker Mayfield throwing a touchdown and running off the screen and not running to congratulate his wide receiver. Colin was like, I don't like that. And then Baker's like, I ran over to the student section that had traveled with us. Did you see me now? I did celebrate the other 3 touchdowns with my teammates. So what are you saying? I'm not
nitpicking.
Yeah, then Colin was like, yo. But why didn't you celebrate with your teammates? I don't. But you're not showing the rest of the play. I went to the student section that they traveled with us. I went to celebrate with them first, and then I went to the sideline and celebrated with my teammates.
And it's practice. Are you kidding me?
He was like, yo, what are you trying to get right here? He's like, so you think that I'm not a good teammate? Is that what you're trying to tell me? And it was like, oh, yo, I would take this guy as my quarterback out there. It's after watching that interview.
That's it.
I bang with me.
That right there just made me really invested. I already did like him coming in, but that just made me really like him more. But I have the 29th with the Browns with the so-called quarterback whisperer. Don't know exactly what he wants to whisper to because
3 quarterbacks all gone that you all chose, and you bring in 3 more. I have an issue with that. You bring in. It's just. I just think it's a lot of players. They can be good, but I think it's just a lot of players and a lot of emotions trying to fix it together in all one team, and we just don't know what we're getting out of Cleveland.
Nah,
and 0-16, you're lucky you're not 32.
You're 1-31 in your last 2 years, and it's not. It's not like this is Bill Parcells or even Andy Reid, like somebody that has a history of turning things around. Like Hugh Jackson does not have a history.
Nothing.
Like we don't even know if he even knows how to get this right. We just know that he was a good offensive coordinator. He had some success with quarterbacks. We've never seen him run a ship that's been this bad to success. And then the GM Dorsey just got fired from the Chiefs for having a bad relationship with his front office. So it's like, he knows how to pick talent. But he has not.
But can we win football games? Like, my whole problem was they went through this whole draft. They got some talent. They got a whole bunch of playmakers. They went through the draft. First off, before the draft, you picked up a quarterback. Mm-hmm. You picked up You picked up a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. You picked up a running back. Then you go into the draft. You picked up a quarterback. You picked up a defensive back. You went defense. But then said, you know what? Our offensive line is perfect. Was it really? Was it really? So now, you put Tyrod Taylor with a suspect offensive line, what happens? I'm just saying, he's still got to get the ball to these players, right? Yeah. Without getting hit. So, 29th. 28th, I have the New York Jets. Doesn't say Giants. Of course, you know I'm not a media person. The New York Jets. And reason being, $20 million on 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Yeah.
And then trading 3 draft picks for another quarterback.
Yo, son.
And then patting your team throughout the draft with your defense, who's been solid for you since Rex Ryan.
Thanks, shout to Rex.
Now, we going in forward. You have a wide receiver who's come from a neck injury, and a wide receiver who's come from off the field issues. I hope they all get to play this season, and we shall see what happens. 28, and then I'm gonna go with my 27. It's funny because they were just on the news. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Reason being, a lot of situations.
Yeah. It's sort of compounded within the last few hours.
It's getting really crazy. And it's just because I just haven't seen this team play winning football as of yet.
Who's the head coach?
Dick Kosh. I'm going to get his name wrong, so I'm just going to say Dick.
That was actually watching like their
Cotier. I think it's Dick Cotier, and it just they have everything that makes you feel like the wide receivers, you feel like everything. But I don't still think they've put everybody in the right position. I just don't think they have the right play calls for their team. Mm-hmm. I think they don't groom Jameis Winston correctly. He's had turnover problems since college. He's continuing to have turnover problems in the NFL. Mm-hmm. If this continues, you can't win.
I was actually watching Trinity, like the Hard Knocks, James Winston has all the skills in the world, but the way so there was one scene where there's the last play of the scrimmage, so he's like, yo, last play, and then so James steps back, pressure gets to him, and he just throws it up, and safety just picks it off.
Yes,
there's a corner on the wide receiver, and the safety comes over and just intercepts it. So as he's walking to the huddle, dude's screaming at him what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? And he was like, yo, but I saw, cover zero. I saw cover zero. And again, I can understand what he's saying when he's saying I saw cover zero.
It's just saying it's a 50-50.
I saw one-on-one coverage. I threw it up to the wide receiver. I didn't see the safety. I thought it was cover zero. I can understand what he's saying. He's like, what? Is that what we said? Is that what we said? And James has his head down, and he's basically just kind of shaking his head, and he just stands there and takes it. And the scene moves on to the next scene in which James wins with his offense again. He's like, yo, he's rounding them up again, and they're basically following him still. But you can tell he's affected by what just happened to him, mm-hmm. Right? So I'm looking at it yo, that's why he's struggling. Mm-hmm. You didn't tell him, and not even what was the play call? Like, literally, what was the play call? Like, the first thing you yell at him was that. Like, I don't even know what the play call was. Like, and if it was, and the first thing he said was, like, I saw coverage 0. So if that's the case, let's say they was running streaks, and he saw basically coverage 0, which means man coverage across the field. He says he has man coverage with Mike Evans against a small corner, and pressure gets right to him.
Because most likely going to be Brent Grimes.
He threw the ball up for Mike Evans. The safety came over the top and just picked it off like it was nothing. But if he saw coverage 0, he made the right call. Like, so say that, you read the coverage wrong. Don't just curse this kid out. You know what I'm saying?
Teach him how to, like, understand, like, how to read the quarterback and and pay attention to the safety. But it's just yelling at the kid. I don't think he's gotten better, like, in the situation. And then the running back situation is still a question. I do like the draft pick of Ronald Jones. Mm-hmm. But yet, their struggle has been against the pass. And they drafted Vita Vea. And that safety position is still up in the air. So I just think that, like, you still have a trouble against the pass. It's going to be interesting. And then now with these working moves of him maybe missing 3 games, might drop down to 1 or 2. It becomes a distraction for your team, to say the least. 26, I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. Reason being, new quarterback, new head coach, new wide receivers, Larry Fitzgerald. That defense is always going to keep them in the games as they've done before. That's the same team that beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do defense.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's a brand new offense. And then your running back is holding out. And he hasn't played last year. David Johnson decides he wants a new contract.
Yeah, right. Though. I just missed the whole year because of injury. I need that long term.
Exactly, but now your quarterback and your running back has no connection.
What's up?
At all.
What's up? There's no.
And you're not exactly sure who's your quarterback. Is it the injury-prone Sam Bradford? Or is it
Josh Rosen?
The injury-prone Josh Rosen?
Wow, I didn't realize that he is.
So it's, where does this team go?
Good point.
They could be lower.
Very true.
They can very be much
A
lower.
lot of question marks there.
Too many question marks for me to really want to worry about. And then my 2015 goes to, most people will not agree with me, is the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, they believe they have their quarterback of the future.
I agree with you. Like,
that's a no.
I totally agree. I feel like a lot of that success was because the league didn't know him.
First off, you don't know him. He's coming in. First, let's look at the strength of schedule.
Yeah.
The toughest team he faced.
Who did he beat? Like,
no, the toughest team he faced, I think it was the Jags. Was it? No, he didn't play the Jaguars. I think the toughest team he played was the Seattle Seahawks. Last drive. That's when he came in after C.J. Beathard got hurt. He played the last drive and scored a touchdown. He's been the man ever since. I think he might have played the Jaguars. I'm not 100% sure. I got to go back. That might have been the only tough team he played.
okay.
But as we know as San Francisco 49ers, as we know as a Jimmy G, if you look at his tape in Patriots, if you look at his team in San Francisco, he loves to hold that ball until the last person is open. He likes to throw the ball to the other side. And one player said, watching that, there's a reason why Belichick had no problem letting him go. There's a reason why when he was replacing Tom Brady, he couldn't play the last game. Why? He got hurt. Why? Because he likes to hold on to the ball. And what did San Francisco do this offseason? They did not pick up an offensive lineman. And that offensive lineman was one of the last in this league. I do not believe this team will be that great team that they suppose they should be. That defense still needs help. That defense was last. That defense was ranked last due to the fact that they couldn't get constant pressure to the quarterback. Not because of cornerbacks. Not because of. It was defensive scheme.
The team is like they're young. Like they have
very young.
They have nothing to hold their head on. Like something like the Cleveland.
Who's the top wide receiver going in there? Pierre Garçon. So. And then, to knock it all off, the most underrated pass-blocking running back, Carlos Hyde, was traded off to the Cleveland Browns in replacement of Minnesota Vikings' Jerick McKinnon. The Swiss Army knife as your starting running back.
Yeah.
Do you see Jerick McKinnon 24 touches?
Not you.
Yes, he had big spurts when he comes in after what were we? Minnesota Vikings. So people forget about Latavius Murray, where he was taking over.
Oh, Adrian Peterson.
No, I'm just talking about when Jerick McKinnon was. Adrian Peterson. Correct.
Yeah.
Or before Cook.
Yeah.
It was Cook, Latavius Murray, Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah.
Jerick McKinnon got majority of his carries after Cook got hurt, and it's after Latavius Murray the majority of the ground and pound. So now this is your starting running back, and behind Jerick McKinnon is Matt Breida. Matt Breida, remind me of, it's the same as Tyreek Cohen. And if you can't remember who Tyreek Cohen is, think of Tyreek Hill as a running back of the Kansas City Chiefs.
You like Darius Rose?
Not even, because Darius Rose is a little bit bigger. I'm talking about someone smaller.
Bigger? It's like what's bigger than Darius Rose?
I said, no, smaller than Darius Rose.
What could get smaller? Like, who's bigger than Darius Rose in the league? Like,
exactly.
That's crazy.
Now I'm gonna go with my 24th team. I just spoke about them. It's the Chicago Bears. I talked about Tyreek Cohen. Now they have a running team. They have a running game that they just refuse to appreciate correctly. I don't know why. They had Jeremy Langford.
Shout out to Howard.
They went from Jeremy Langford, who had a solid season. They went and picked up Howard, who is the most underrated running back in the league.
You give him some time. You gotta get his name up. And a matter of fact, Matt Forte was in that same position for a decade. Nobody gave him love.
Exactly. And then they pick up Tyreek Cohen. I actually do like. I think he would be solid with that Matt Nagy offense. He's going to use him just like because he can throw the ball, he can catch the ball, and he can run the ball. But he does also have that young mentality where he does punt returns, but he's not. If he sees a defender, he's gonna not fair catch it. So I think, and then you got a Trubisky. Now everyone likes Mitch Trubisky.
That's my dude Trent Green Volume 2.
Yeah?
Trent Green Volume 2.
I like that one.
That's who he is. Like,
because to me, Trent Trubisky, he can make all the throws in practice.
He gonna be a solid starter.
He's gonna be that solid guy. And then when you put all your marbles on Aaron Robinson, who come off an ACL injury after having one real good season with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I just think it's a big stretch. I do like what they did with the linebacker situation with Roquan Smith, but then I'm also hearing that Roquan Smith has to get better with the defense because he's kind of falling behind. So then now I just see this situation like,
wow, what?
Now maybe Roquan Smith doesn't fit on their defense. No, maybe he doesn't fit their defense. Remember?
I get you saying, but like
best player.
Play that good, man.
No, I'm just saying, but you might
find a scheme that he can't fit in.
But you probably could, because if you have the best player, but it's not your scheme, he doesn't fit.
I mean, he just won't be as great.
Because now, if you look at Roquan Smith, he's more of a run punishing stopper type of player. So now, if they got rid of, I think they got rid of Danny Trevathan. So I think if you keep Danny Trevathan as your middle linebacker, you keep him as your weak side or your strong side linebacker as Roquan Smith, I think he's better off. But now in coverage, he's not as great. So they having a prop. They have a. No, when I seen the tape. No, when I see. No, when I see him, he has problems in coverage, and I see that he's had problems with as far as bigger tight ends, which he's gonna have to face a lot, especially in that division where you're gonna play against the Lions, where you're gonna get a quarterback as far as Matthew Stafford.
That never throws tight ends.
No, I'm just saying you're gonna have a problem just as far as acknowledging what he's doing.
Okay.
So then now you're gonna have the Vikings, which I'm not sure where they're gonna go at, but they should be in the same ranking, but we'll go into them later. And the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, and you're gonna have to face Jimmy Graham. So that's gonna be probably your biggest challenge. But as far as the Bears go, I just see it's still a developing team. Their defense has been solid.
It's young.
It's young, but it's still been solid. But offensively, I still don't know where they are because I see. I see Trubisky. You say Trent Green. I see him as Chad Pennington, and the same thing. Like good percentage on 0 to 12 yards, and that's my bottom 8 of my power ranking for this week.
That was excellent. I agree with them all. I agree with them all. I don't really have I have really no issues. Like, there's a lot of potential with some of these teams.
But
Like,
Jesus.
but it's you can't say it though. Like it's not. You'd have to see the potential come to fruition. Like it doesn't look like it's very realistic though.
And there's a lot of new players and new faces and new
And
teams.
unproven coaches also.
Yes.
So the same way with the players are unproven, the reason they're on the back eight because everybody's improving it. Like the players are improving, the talent's improving, the organizations are improving, and the coaches are improving. So I agree with all of them.
Thank you.
I mean, speaking of keeping it in football, one of my favorite football players ever, the first football player that I knew who he was, Brett Favre. Like he was the first celebrity football player as a child. I was born in '89, so maybe around '94 when I first kind of started watching football. Brett Favre was the first guy that I was a fan of. Like he was the first one I was like, oh, I want to see him play this game. So Brett Favre has been recently in the news because he's trying to get a bill passed to make it illegal to have tackling football to youths under the age of 12.
It's amazing.
Which to me is like, I just want to give him as much hand play, like applause, standing ovation for that particular thing. And he's not saying that they shouldn't play football; they just shouldn't be tackling, which I completely agree with. Like, and it's not that we're saying to stop youth from ever being able to play football at that age or before the age of 12. No, you can just play flag football. There's no reason you can still learn a lot of the techniques that will make you a good football player later on without the tackling because your body's not formulated yet. Your brain can't handle hits. Like you're going to be concussed at a higher rate before you're age 16 than when you get old enough to understand how to take hits. So there's no reason for them to be hitting at those ages at all. And the fact that Brett Favre was able to now try to make this a law where the federal government will get involved, I think this is great coming from Brett Favre, who played the most consecutive games, like has had some of the most concussions of anybody that played through a lot of
It's
that.
like the Allen Iverson of football.
Exactly.
He's had injuries everywhere.
So if he's
played through all of it.
If he's saying that on the youth side they shouldn't be taking hits, he's probably the best poster child to try to get this bill passed.
And he's always been known as an underrated player. So he's known like how certain players have to grind in there. So he's like, yo, I've been that grinder.
Yeah.
And known that like, yo, I've gotten rocked.
Correct. And most people don't even know what Brett Favre's career. He was drafted on the back end of the first round by the Atlanta Falcons. And then by the time, like, never got a chance. He even tells, like, they never even tried to develop me. They said, oh, kid got a big arm. We'll throw him in there and see what he can do. It's like they never had
first play was a pick, and they just
trade him to the Packers. And it's like he met the guy that eventually would develop. And it was like he had a plan for me. He had an idea of what I could do. He had a scheme in which would make my talents where I could finally go out there and just extend the play and use my big arm. Like I could fit a ball anywhere. But it's just to keep the play alive until I could get somebody open. It's like they made it perfect where the receivers would actually know that's what I'm doing. But that's a plan. And that's how now Brett Favre talents were able to be fully maximized. But if you look at his original team that drafted him, had no plan. Just like, oh, he's the best talent on the board. Has a big arm. We'll take him. It's not going to work. But to the point that he's making with the whole football, I completely agree. I think, like, this would be a great thing to come out. This would be a great thing again where it's like, you can even go up to, I've heard people say 14. They're up until 14, they don't need to hit. It'll be a nice way to, like, further the game of football and start to make it a little bit safer for everybody playing the game.
And I think it makes you even smarter because it's like now you allow these kids to really pay attention to what they're doing. Like I think you'll get players playing more longer and more longevity. Like you might cut that CTE situation going on.
Drop a lot of these injuries that they get from just like not really knowing what they're doing or even hurting their body before it was even developed. A lot of time you take a hit and you start to like get bones broken or bones a little bit loose from those 12, 13 when you don't even know that it's just, you think it's a soreness. But in reality, you have like a chip fracture in your elbow.
And then it grows different.
Exactly. So
because
now,
you're still developing your body.
So that now turns into a completely torn tendon. When you're 23, you don't realize, why was my tendon so weak? Well, yeah, you had basically been chipping away at that since you was 13. So I think a lot of injuries can start to take back. A lot of other things can like improve football in general with this particular law goes into place. So shout out to Brett Favre and shout out to like this rule.
Shout out to that completely. That's a dope. That's amazing. I really do hope anything to make the sport better and safer I'm all for it. And I think that's a dope. I really do. They really take that into our consideration, especially being that type of player he was.
Right.
I think it should really be really thought on. Should be really mentioned.
Right. So, I mean, Shout out to Brett Favre. We'll see how that works out.
Yes, sir.
And that was basically another episode of Change Your Pace Sports with alternative views.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to put out, because we ain't really the NHL final thing. Championship.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Shout out to the
He
Wild.
finally get.
My man
Shout out
Owens.
to the Capitals, and shout out to the what was the team they played? The Vegas team for them being a brand new franchise and making it that far.
That got that far. Yeah.
That just shout out to that whole sport and that whole situation.
I mean, I'm a little salty with my Rangers. We had to break up our team this year.
Yeah.
We basically had to give up the run. So we're going to have to rebuild next year. So I'm a little sad in hockey, but I'm super happy for Ovechkin.
That's dope.
Like, he was the Carmelo Anthony.
He's been going back and forth between this and that.
Sidney
and
Crosby,
all that
of Malkin, they got theirs.
And he finally got his,
so
man.
it's like, I'm happy for Ovechkin.
30-something years old, finally got it. It don't matter when you get it, you got it.
I mean, he's legendary, like, best scorer of his generation.
I think he has every last record for that team in general.
Correct.
And as far as rookie records and National Hockey League records, he has a lot of records where he just broke a lot and was finally. It's like Peyton Manning finally getting his ring.
He was exactly that. Because he was drafted as a god. He's been just that. He's held that team down, got him in the playoffs, all that, been competing. Hasn't got past his rival, who almost like Tom Brady, Sidney Crosby, who's won championships, also was a savant, was a one of one.
Yeah.
So now it's like he finally got the ring. He can finally now look at Crosby like, yo, I'm here with you now. Yeah. Like, let's get it. Like, so I mean, I'm super happy for him. And he was celebrating OD out there in DC.
Yeah, of course. And he deserves every bit of it. So I just want to put that out there, give a little touch out to the
definitely the look for And like I said, we can continue like we'll do next week. Get into more NFL, more of the power rankings. Get into NBA free agency because it's gonna get hot next week.
Mm-hmm.
Then we break down the NBA draft tonight. How that go down?
We can speak about where Trey went.
How Trey Young is gonna do in the NBA.
We can speak about a whole bunch of draft situations. There's gonna be a lot of special NBA going on, and we can speak more of the final 16 of the World Cup.
Facts.
Tune in.
So we'll keep the best urban talk on the entire net, the entire world. So we're gonna change the pace of sports, one alternative view at a time. And enjoy yourself till next time. We out.
Stay peace.